Welcome back. Here I am your host, your most illustrative host, Michael DiNicola, and this is my live stream where I draw for your pleasure or displeasure, depending on how well we accomplish our goals or not. As always, I like to start the stream, the top of the stream, by thanking my Patreon subscribers, YouTube members, Twitch subscribers. Thank you guys for your ongoing and continued just awesome support, and everyone else on the Discord, all other various social media platforms, and just every member of my community at large. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Aside from that, if you're new here, I like to start off the stream by, aside from thank yous, giving you guys a quick rundown of what I drew either the last time I streamed or the last time I sketched in general. This is a piece that I worked on last week while hanging out with my friends. I think this is Thursdays. I usually stream 3 days a week, and this is Thursday's drawing. No reference, no character reference, no photo reference. This is just one off the top of the head. And if you've been here a while, you kind of know that drawing something like this off the top of my head is kind of my bread and butter. You know, I'm not exactly breaking new ground here. So when I say, oh, I didn't use any reference, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, because I draw this stuff all of the time. Hello, Praetor. Welcome back to the stream, bebe. Hello, baby. Hello, Praetor, baby. What's up, buddy? How art thou? There we go. Okay, I am live. Let me pin this message. Yeah, let me pin the Discord. Let me pin the Discord channel as well for anybody who might want to watch the YouTube after it's done. Then come join the Discord. All are welcome. All are welcome. Okay. Do I have an idea for today? No, but let's jump into it. Let's get right into it, baby. Oh, god damn it. Yes. You ever try to move a tab and it's like you just drag the entire goddamn window? That's what I just did, and that was annoying. Praetor, what kind of shenanigans did you get into this weekend? Do I smell a fiesta, or is that my pal Nikki Gonzalez?
You're so dumb.
Did
Hello, Mikey.
somebody order a mariachi band?
That's me.
And just listening to your beautiful voice, Nikki, I feel like I'm in Oaxaca right now.
I'm taking that as a full compliment.
No,
Thank you.
dude, are you shitting me, dude? That city is one of the most beautiful cities I have ever seen photos of. I would truly love to go there. No joke.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's like, and apparently, according to those who know such things, that is like the heart of Mexico, Oaxaca. There's so much culture there, and it's actually kind of bittersweet. I don't know if I was watching a documentary of it, or I've just seen enough like food and like travel shows on it that, you know, I've caught a glimpse of it. But there's this kind of bittersweet thing there, where you have this indigenous, like this beautiful, rich, you know, thousands of year old indigenous culture in Oaxaca, and then but also you have those filthy Eurotrash fucking dirty colonizers, Nikki. Those fucking awful Spaniards. You see their fucking filthy mitts. You see the indelible mark / scar they left on on this beautiful North American continent and South American continent. Didn't do jack this weekend, says Praetor. Bale says, I didn't know it was karaoke night tonight. It's always karaoke night, Bale. Oh man, Nikki, I'm hearing this animated show. Hang on, is it anime? Because the show is American, right? The Cyberpunk show, it's not Japanese dubbed. It's kind of like Avatar, right? It's kind of like Avatar, kind of like or Korra, or what's the other show that's also American? Castlevania, where it's like, if it was you'd absolutely call it an anime if it was Japanese people speaking, but it's but people fucking bicker about that. Oh, it's not anime, that's American animation. Anime's Japanese animation. I'm like, but dude, like the entire fucking thing looks like Japanese animation. How are you not going to call it anime? Bale would know about these things. It's made by a Japanese studio, right? But is it made by a Japanese studio for a Japanese audience, or is it made by a Japanese studio for an American audience? Nikki, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this.
I can see you're very determined, sir.
Yeah. I find the weebs endlessly frustrating. Hello, you know who's not a weeb? Matthew. I don't know Matthew's last name. Is he public about his last name, or does he keep it private?
I don't think he's ever actually announced it on stream, so I'm not saying it.
Do you know his last name?
Yeah, I do. We're like besties.
Whoa.
Get out of here.
What letter does it begin with?
Oh shit. You know what? I had a brain fart if it was J or G. Let me double check. Hold on. I legitimately had a brain fart.
Oh man.
Hold on.
Maybe it starts with both.
J, it's J. It's J.
It's J. It's JG.
I knew you were private, Maddie.
It's Matthew JG Wentworth. I fucking knew it, dude.
There we go. Perfect. There. Give me my money,
yeah.
bitch.
Call JG Wentworth. 877 can now. That is fucking nerditude was JG Wentworth the whole time. I should have known. Wait, hang on. What's Bale yelling about? Bale's over there screaming like a hysterical woman.
Whoa.
He's saying it's also originally dubbed in Japanese. Okay. That I don't know, because we haven't had a situation like this recently. I don't know if CDPR approached Trigger or vice versa. If it's vice versa, then Trigger made an anime for Japan. Interesting. Well, because CDPR, look who it is. It's JG Wentworth himself. 877 cash now. Nikki's screaming on the phone at somebody. She's doing business right now, dude. Nikki's being full fucking Maddie McConaughey circa Wolf of Wall Street.
Have you ever seen
and she's fucking
oh god. That was
she's fucking she's hitting her chest right now, dude. She's so coked up right now, dude. She just wiped some of the blow off her nose.
It's part of the new diet, man. Helps the metabolism.
Yeah, it's how do you think guys that fucking her getting lap band surgery or whatever it was, that's a cover. I'm spilling the beans. She's on the fucking cocaine diet. That's how she lost the weight. Wakes up with a breakfast of fucking scrambled eggs and yayo.
Ooh, I mean, scrambled eggs and yayo does sound good, though. If I could put that on a menu, I would. I mean, there's restaurants that incorporate weed and shit in the states where it's legal.
Yeah, they do. Hey, somebody has to make the cartel work. Dude, the cart of all I listen to all kinds of like scary before I go to bed or when I'm just chilling out. I give
myself nightmares.
Yeah, that's the thing, I don't get nightmares. In like the last 4 years that I've been doing this, I've only got one nightmare. And the dream goes, I'm hanging out in my apartment and I could feel like I'm being watched in the shadows, and then something emerges from the shadows and tries to tackle me, and I freak out and I charge at it and I tackle it, and that's when I woke up. Me fighting my night demon jostled me awake, and I was like, holy shit, I had my fucking first nightmare in a decade. and that was the first and last time that happened.
I don't know. I half expected something like, there I was, you know, it was me at one end and my night demon in the other, and lo and behold, it was Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
Shadow.
you're fighting Terry Bradshaw.
It was Shadow Terry Bradshaw. It was Nega Terry Bradshaw, and then we're just banging. I'm banging Terry.
What is
Terry's
this,
banging
fucking
me.
Smash Brothers. Here comes a new challenger, Shadow Bradshaw. I'd actually watch. I'd play that level.
Yeah, me too.
I'd grind to get it.
Grind, baby. God damn it! I'm like wildly. I'm about as linear as a garden hose spraying haphazardly right now.
You were talking about that Edge Runners. Is it any good?
I've heard nothing but good things from all my friends that love animation, including Bale.
It's a Merame though. Right?
Well, all right. So I guess here's the question that I was kind of asking and curious about from Bale. CDPR. I think American. I'm like, sue Cyberpunk American. So it's like, all right. Well, Cyberpunk. Yes, I think Cyberpunk is. Wait, who the author that did like Neuromancer?
Is a Polish developer.
See, so CDPR is Polish. But they're basing their video game property off Cyberpunk, which I'm almost certain the dude who created Neuromancer and all those like 80s Cyberpunk, like the dude who actually made the Cyberpunk,
Bruce Betke?
like the dude who made the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG. That dude, I think he's a black dude from, oh god,
William Gibson.
Is that it? Let me see.
I think it is.
You know, this is a genre I love so much. I should actually know.
Gibson's novel Neuromancer helped solidify the genre.
Where's Gibson from? William Gibson, is an American Canadian. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where was he born? Nationality American and Canadian. He was born in South Carolina, baby. Canadian in my butthole. This guy's got.
How is that Canada?
Yeah. How the fuck is, dude? South Carolina is about as far away from Canada. I mean,
right? Like I can understand if like you lived in like New York City or Upper Wisconsin or something.
Yeah,
where you were,
Upper Wisconsin,
like,
Maine. You know, you're in one of those. Because listen, let's be honest.
Weird.
There's some parts of America where it seems like the Americans and Canadians are interchangeable. You know, like it seems like they just could stroll across the border at any old time, and there's lots of cultural bleed. Not in fucking South Carolina, fucking Lina.
They're all rednecks, is really what it is. Like,
yeah.
Cross-sectionally, Americans and Canadians are the same at that level.
Yeah.
Like, they just, one of them might have, but I mean, Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of those UP of Michigan has their own Canadian accent.
If you're talking about them yuppers are practically fucking Canada, Canucks, up there.
Well,
man.
I mean, Wolverine started there. We all know that.
Let me see.
That level of Canada.
All right, so William Gibson, he's a Southerner. Let's see, where is the? All right, Cyberpunk. The novel is by. What's that? 1983. No, where's the Cyberpunk? The RPG. Now this is the role-playing game. This is a tabletop RPG. Came out 1988, and it was written by Mike Pondsmith. Yeah, here we go. So here's the in regards to. Oh come on, OBS stop working. Share my screen. So this is the tabletop RPG Cyberpunk. Came out in the 80s. Mike Pondsmith is the creator. And like I said,
Bro, he looked like his photo looked like he was captured for 2 decades.
He's been in a bunker. He's one of those Armageddon types. What do they call those?
Yeah.
What do they call those?
Oh, the
apocalyptic.
not survivalists. The fuck, they had a name for it.
Yeah, I know. They're like apocalyptos or something.
Some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like, it's hard to argue with those guys because, like, in truth, if all they're doing is stocking and building shelter,
yeah,
like it's hard to say they're the stupid ones. We're over here like, oh, you making it safe for your family, loser? And it's like, what? Oh, you got a 50-year food supply, dipshit.
Is it preppers? Is it doomsday preppers?
Preppers, yes, preppers.
Fuck yes. Okay.
Stuffed preppers.
Jalapeno stuffed preppers. All right. So yes. Michael Allen Pondsmith, Santa Cruz, California. Nationality, American. So yeah, no. So it seems like if we're talking cyberpunk, let's see, the guy who wrote another cyberpunk novel, the original cyberpunk. This guy's also born in the U.S. This guy. So okay,
Boy,
listen, man.
he really looks like U.S. too. He looks like Walter White.
Okay. So my point being, cyberpunk, the books, the genre. Yeah, cyberpunk, the books, the genre, American. Cyberpunk, the video game, made by a Polish company. Cyberpunk, the cyberpunk inspired animation, currently on Netflix. I don't know what platform it is.
I believe so, yeah.
Japanese. So I'm like, so I'm kind of like, what? It's almost like it's like a multinational gathering of sorts. A multinational.
So what you're saying is you're against this this hybrid. You want cultures to stick to their
homogenous culture. How dare
tell
you?
Them to stick to their own lanes.
This is how we hurtle towards a new world order, Maddie.
No new taxes?
International of you, Michael.
What's up? Wait, hang on. What'd you say, Circa?
I said how very non-international of you, Michael.
You know me, I'm pure xenophobe, baby.
Mike's over here like, I feel like I need a passport to play one property. I'm tired of this.
Yeah, I'm
Is
full.
Is my mic too quiet? Because I just set up a new one, so.
No, it's good. I think I just need to adjust you on my end, from what your mic level was to me before and what it is now.
Yeah. This is the short. I finally set up the fancy mic. So.
Bale says yes on Netflix. No, I think honestly, truth be told, I think the whole thing is pretty damn remarkable. The fact that, you know, the kind of rundown that I just did, where, you know, the origins of the story and the various works in new media that it's inspired, that it would end up in anime on Netflix of all things. I'm really eager to watch it. Yeah.
They have a list of popular examples of cyberpunk.
Give it to me.
Let me know if you would say these are cyberpunk. Blade Runner.
Oh, dude, Blade Runner, the movie, of course, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Blade Runner
very much so.
is that's like, honestly, man, that's the heart of cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the first example I'd argue of it really on the film.
Yeah, I mean that, and the film changes the face of what sci-fi and cyberpunk is. Like, you see people referencing and using Blade Runner to this day.
Oh god, well look at, I mean, the game Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
I mean,
40 years.
Fifth Element's another big one that basically just stole Blade Runner's entire aesthetic.
Yes. Yeah, kind
Akira?
of 90s. Oh my god, dude, Akira's the other one, dude. The word, yeah,
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, no, man, you're basically doing like a Mount Rushmore of fucking.
But here's a couple weird ones. I don't know if I totally agree with The Matrix.
Okay, I think they added. I think they added to the legacy, right? So I think if we're building a pyramid, on that bottom level, right? The pyramid doesn't get built without Blade Runner, without Akira, Ghost in the Shell. I think that is like the heart of it, and then I think.
Total Recall, which I disagree with.
I would disagree with too, because I don't think what you can say was with The Matrix is that it's dystopian, it's futuristic, so it ticks a lot of the boxes. But also, what I think makes The Matrix unique is that it also adds to the pantheon of what cyberpunk can be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Minority
it's classic.
Report? I don't know how I feel about that being on this list.
Honestly, I would lead towards no, to be honest, man, because cyberpunk is a specific, like cyberpunk. When I think of cyberpunk, all right, just real quick. When I think of cyberpunk, I think one of the main pillars of it is, it's about mankind and what it means to be human, right? The more you add parts onto you that are, you know, non-organic parts to you, as you become part of the quote unquote machine. What does it mean to be a person? So you have that, almost like a body horror level of horror. So technology and mankind, their coexistence, symbiosis, even if it's parasitic, and then also another important pillar of that is specifically from cyberpunk is the haves and the have-nots, the people who run things and the people who strive to have some, and think about it from cyberpunk. Literally, I almost called him Johnny Utah. Johnny Silverhand character from Cyberpunk, he is constantly striving to tear down that 1% of the 1%. The people who run, well, not even people anymore, the mega corporations that run the lives of the people in this dystopian nightmare sci-fi future. So there's a lot of that too. So I feel like those are two really fucking important parts. And I don't know if you have that in Minority Report nearly as much.
I would argue.
Yeah.
I'd argue RoboCop.
Oh, 100%. Dude, RoboCop
like,
is
why is
literally...
that not on this list?
Dude, think about it. A mega corporation privatized police, and they took a person without their consent and it turned it into a body horror nightmare. Now it's told. The story is told under a very fun 80s, hyper violent.
The first one, not as much. I mean, the second one gets goofier. Number 3 is trash. I just wanted, if you haven't watched all 3 RoboCops, you can skip the third.
The Japanese robot with the sword.
Yeah. I mean, it was just goofy. It was a different guy. It wasn't even Peter Weller. So like, yeah, the third one's terrible. The second one, I would argue, is even more cyberpunk because then that one deals with the haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
It deals with the drug influence in society, which a lot of cyberpunk source material, it's a big part of it. So the second RoboCop's probably even more cyberpunk than the first one, but the first one's just, I mean, I still love that movie.
No, because what's up, Circa?
I was just gonna ask, so you think that have and have not giant evil mega corporation like socioeconomic divide thing is critical to it, right? So for example, like if you were to look at like the Borg from Star Trek, right? Obviously more robot than
right. So like that's
human,
that's one
like,
aspect
so that's
of it
not
for
cyberpunk.
sure.
It's
right.
just
but that's just
lacks
sci-fi.
that evil mega corporation
right
aspect. Coincidentally, I need to watch all of these movies because I've never seen Blade Runner, I've never seen RoboCop, I've seen Akira.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the only one out of these that I've seen.
So interesting that you mentioned the Borg, right? Because the Borg
also,
on Star Trek,
Sarah.
The Borg on Star Trek, not cyberpunk. However, if you took the Borg characters themselves, you took them out of Star Trek, you put them in the world of cyberpunk, in like Night City, and turn them into a biker gang, that is 1000% cyberpunk, and maybe even a badass gang. Because they're
they'd be one of the factions you end up having to do business with or something.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Because there definitely are people within that are forced into that. Like they don't. It's against their will. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Children.
Well, isn't that one of the parts of like this kind of one of the big things in cyberpunk lore is you are also kind of forced into a faction. It's like being in prison, but in real life, where no matter what, you have to fit into one area.
Exactly.
I mean, look at 789, right? She escaped basically the Borg or whatever,
Right.
But she was forced into it.
So the funny thing is, the Borg are forced to assimilate via conquest, right, by this race, this techno cyborg race. The people in cyberpunk media, they are forced by circumstance, right? The world in which they live basically makes it so that if you don't have enhancements, like you are going to be from people who are scraping at the bottom, you're going to be the lowest possible rung. So like, yeah, I do think socioeconomics does play a major role in it, and that is also that's mirrored in the technological aspect of it. And then on top of all that, the icing on the cake is with all these enhancements and all that, with especially in the sequel to Blade Runner, with Ryan Gosling, with the Denis Villeneuve directed film, what it means to be human is, I think, one of the key aspects. Deckard not knowing if he's a replicant or not, a major, Ryan Gosling being a replicant, doubting his own replicantness, wondering if he was born and perhaps he has a soul, and what does it mean to have a soul, and if And even to make things even more complicated, if replicants and humans can have children together,
Right.
what the fuck does that
Yeah.
mean? What does it mean now to be human? What does it mean to quote unquote have a soul? It's like these are like
What is the essence of being? I mean, look, and I mean, not to bring up Star Trek again,
Yeah.
but look at Data. You know,
Sure.
Kant spent his entire sort of, I don't know if you call it a life or an existence, but trying to become human and explore that. I mean, you know, moving beyond his programming.
Yeah, very very
Is
similar.
Harrison Ford a replicant?
I don't think
What's your
it.
take?
I don't think so. He says. Wait, I know there's a disagreement, right? I think
Yeah.
Ridley Scott says yes. He says no. Harrison Ford.
Here's the thing. There is a shot where, remember how they talk about the glow in the eyes of the replicants?
Yeah.
There is a shot where, like, I guess Harrison Ford, he's kind of in the background and the one female's in the foreground, and his eyes do look to be glowing as well.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
I saw somebody had like freeze framed it, and it's like every time I read a little bit more about it, it's like maybe that motherfucker was.
Maybe. Yeah.
But he is in the sequel too, though.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He is in the sequel.
You say it after. Maddie.
Whoopsies.
Whoopsies.
Sorry, takesy backsies.
Yeah. So. I was actually trying to think of in the second iteration of Blade Runner, they introduced holographic people as well, which is funny because they also did that in Star Trek, introducing holographs as thinking kind of like
Yeah, well, I
conscious
saw a Tupac
things.
hologram on stage, so
How long before that thing gained sentience?
hopefully not long at all. We need him back.
We need you back, baby.
We need Tupac back in the game.
He would probably look at us and be like, "Nah." He'd be canceled
No.
as soon as he was brought back.
Yeah, the second the Tupac hologram gains sentience, he kills himself.
Yeah, he's like,
This
why'd you do to me?
can't.
Why'd you bring me back?
Yeah, I can't be here. You guys are horrible. Bye. He just delete program.
Oof.
You know, I actually thought of
So did you
changing.
hear the rumor about Black Adam?
He's not black. No. There's the rumor about
He's
Dwayne.
Samoan.
The rumor about Black Adam is they show the very shaft of his penis at
Yeah.
part of the movie. They like
Only 6 inches of the 3 feet. It
Yeah,
actually is.
the base of it, the trunk. They show the trunk of his cock, and
He
it
didn't
turns.
like unroll the full thing, you know.
Yeah. They can't have
Like
that
a
on.
fruit by the foot.
Yeah, the film isn't that large to for Dwayne the Rock Johnson to fully unsheath his boulder.
We need that 4K IMAX camera for the.
Yeah, so he just shows you
People's,
he just shows you the trunk of it. He just shows you the root of his cock, and it turns out it's white. You know, most guys got a dick that's a few shades darker than the rest of their body. It's for Dwayne the Rock Johnson, it's the opposite, and they're keeping that as canon. They're keeping that as canon for Black Adam.
It's gonna play an integral role in Shazam 2's
Yeah.
ending.
That's why they're going to name him after the fact, partially Black Adam.
Yeah, he'll have nicknames like Albino Adam, things like that.
No, wait, what's the rumor?
No, but the actual rumor is that Henry Cavill will be reprising his role as
Superman.
in a
Yes, I fucking heard that. I heard that rumor being bandied
cameo. Which
around.
I don't give a fuck about Black Adam or
No.
it being a cameo. All it tells me is that he's still Superman and will be in another Superman movie if he's in the cameo.
I hope that's true. Not because I give a shit about Black Adam at all. I hope it's true because, I want to see him. I want to see him on screen.
Like, who else right now would be a better Like, he did it well. Like I don't know. I would rather see him as Superman. He's still young. He's, I think, still under 40. So, you remember how we talked about James Bond? And
Yes.
the problem with James Bond is they need somebody that can last 10 to 15 years.
Right, but it's difficult
Well,
because,
one of the fucking executive producers or whatever it is came out and said, we love Idris Elba, but we need somebody that's going to be able to last 10 to 15 years. Exactly
Yeah.
what we said.
Well, yeah.
Is Henry Cavill? Oh, he's 39.
Oh, interesting. I'll be honest, he looks older. I feel like he looked 39.
Who, Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill. I
Yeah.
feel like Cavill looked
It's because he's always jacked.
like he was in his 30s when The Man of Steel came out 10 years ago.
But I feel like he's aged really well. I don't think he looks. Like
No,
he
I don't
has.
think he looks worse. I just think he's got a let's be honest, man. He's got some.
He's a British white man. He's going to age terribly.
They do. Why do British people age like fucking milk left
They-
outside?
Some of them age great, but some of them age. I mean, look at the monarchy.
Oh God.
Like the Queen
dude.
was okay, but look at Charles.
Charles,
That
look
dude's
at
got swollen
Philip,
hands
dude.
and shit.
Philip looked like the fucking crypt keeper in the end, man.
Whatchamacallit's been bald since he was in his 20s. Harry or whatever the fuck his name is.
It's all that incest genetics. Get you,
Yeah, probably.
get you, baby.
You're my third cousin, right? Well, we don't see each other except at picnics, so no problem.
Yeah, fucking Charles was the Queen's cousin. I don't know what level of cousin. Third, perhaps?
Either.
Should we Google it?
I mean, when you're a monarchy, it's just, isn't it all weird? Like, because the whole, like, thing is supposed to be keep it in the family in general. Because there had to have been some awkward conversations within that family at some times. That's why, what's his face went for Markle. He's like, I'm not doing this, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not fucking my cousin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I need to mix up the gene pool.
What are they, Targaryens?
I mean, honestly, yeah.
We
actually.
are episode 3, season 8 of Game of Thrones. We are almost done.
But
Oh,
honestly,
man.
look how they treat people who come into that family. Like, why would you want to marry in? You know what I mean? Look what they're doing to Meghan Markle. It's like,
Well, I mean, I think the whole idea is supposed to be like, you look. I mean, to be fair, her husband did give up all his rights for her.
he did.
Like,
I mean, Harry's treated her great. That's not, but
But I mean, is anybody surprised that the British monarchy isn't exactly happy about interracial relationships within
No,
their
I mean-
organization?
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah.
it's not just that. I mean, it's just she's an outsider. I mean, look what they did with Diana too. You know what I mean? Like it's
Well, Diana
Yes,
wasn't
had her
even an
killed.
outsider. Diana was one of theirs. She was.
Yeah, but she
like,
fucked up though.
she
Divorced
was.
their guy, and then was apparently fucking he was an Arab man.
Well, yeah,
He was like a wealthy
Dodie.
business dude, but yeah, so it's like
But she was allegedly.
I don't know, man.
She was fucking
Yeah.
other people while because what's his Charles was fucking I hate that I know that. I fucking hate that I know this, but Charles was banging Camilla throughout his and Diana's entire fucking marriage. He had this side piece, and she just kind of let it slide because he's the fucking king to be. So she allegedly had some of her own dalliances as well. But from all account, from what I've seen, it seems like she was not built for the fucking nightmare of what your life is when you're in that role.
Yeah, she seemed like probably a more normal of a person.
Right. Exactly.
she was more free spirited. She didn't want to lose herself to being a royal, right? And it's a role. I mean, it's a very sort of restricting
Dude,
thing that you do, a role that you play. I mean, and they pick you apart. I mean, like, I just Googled something and this new article popped up about how I guess someone has released a book, Royal Expert has released a book, and there's like an entire section on how she's horrified that Meghan Markle wore white on her wedding day as opposed to cream because she's been married before. Like,
Wait,
really?
Meghan Markle's
Like,
a divorcee?
she was married once before she and Harry got married. Yeah.
Gross! How dare she? What a whore,
Gross.
right, Matt?
Gross.
She
What a real-
dared to wear a white dress, and in fact, they compared her to Camilla because Camilla wore a cream dress.
Yeah,
Because she-
yeah, but so like that's what it is, right? All the strict adherence to tradition, which is something that I honestly, for the most part, detest, unless there's a reason for it, right? But tradition just for tradition's sake, I think, is nonsense. I think tradition
think,
without
like,
purpose
it-
is ridiculous.
It's all like I don't know. Like, so I get it. She was married before, but why? That's the
Yeah.
weird thing is like, isn't it all? Sure, I thought marriage was about liking the person you were with, not fucking.
Not for them, dude.
Yeah.
Not for
Not-
dude.
Like for them,
not
it
for
was.
everybody.
You know, they probably
Yeah,
had
not for
somebody they
everybody.
arranged it for some kingdom
Sure.
that had a bridge or some shit, like it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Didn't you know that divorcees are damaged goods? My goodness.
yeah, they're
Well, I mean, there is
They're the
some truth
lowest
to
of the low.
Mickey-
They're
Well,
thrown away by somebody.
yeah.
I mean,
that's why.
they did have a rough go with Diana. I think that whole situation was not easy.
Well, also she was. It seemed to me like Diana was also a little nutty, as like. to
No,
boot.
I think she was just more normal, was more of a normal woman, a more normal person, and the whole idea of like dealing with the kingdom and all that shit was just like, I want to go out and get drunk and like not have, like, I think that was the biggest problem is she was probably a fairly cool person that just didn't buy into the royalty shit.
Right. I want to be a I want to be a regular person. But
Like,
yeah,
I
no.
want to be able to go to a nightclub. I want to be able to travel freely without somebody up my ass. And then when I decide that I want to divorce your fucking family because they cheated on me, that's when you leave me alone. And I don't think the monarchy enjoyed that.
Well, she
No.
also was very much about sort of the British people. Diana was, and I think there were a
Yeah.
lot of restrictions put on
Oh
her.
yeah, dude.
You know, I mean, she gave an interview at one point, and the interviewer asked her, like, you know, why do you continue to sort of go against the royal family? And she said, well, somebody has to love the people. And you know, I mean, there's a lot of things. This is not to hate on the British, you know, the royal family. I don't know them from Adam, but like, you know, there are a lot of restrictions that seem to be for their own sort of pomp and circumstance, and not for the betterment of the people they supposedly, you know, rule over. And she just didn't ascribe to that. She was kind of a bit of a hippie, I think, Diana. So
How? No, I'm curious. At what level of cousin is it okay to bang, Nikki?
Get the fuck out of here.
Third cousin? Is that too close?
I don't know. You figure it out yourself.
No,
Ask
Nikki.
somebody else with
No,
your stupid questions.
I want to know. Nikki's all right. Nikki's banged somebody at a quinceañera. She's not telling us.
I've never been to a quinceañera. Never had
Yeah.
one either.
It's a cover up. I'm not buying it.
It's a cover up for what?
For shenanigans.
You're a shenanigan.
Familial shenanigans. All right, hang on. At what point does a cousin, like do you say, oh, I hooked up with my cousin? What?
You
at
say
what po-
nothing of the sort. You don't do it.
that is
But,
not
like-
a phrase that would ever come out of my mouth.
Exactly.
Not only
Wait.
because my cousins are gross, but also it just would never come out.
All
of my
right, so you're
mouth.
saying if you're at a family function and there's like,
But
You're-
if my cousins weren't gross, I don't know.
my cousins are gross, but I'm not
I'd
biologically
have to
related
think
to them.
about that, wouldn't I?
I guess my question is, you're at a family function and you're at one of those giant ones. I've never been to one of these, but I've heard of them. Actually, no. My cousin on their other family side does this gathering of people who are all related to like the same like great descendant. So everybody there's technically a cousin, but these are like fourth and fifth cousins, and like these are like this event is like it's got like 100 or a couple hundred people that like all like go to meet in a like park somewhere, and they all hang out and like barbecue and shit. And it's technically like a family thing, but like it's a real wide mix. And I think if I remember correctly, one of my cousins, she went on a couple dates with a dude, and it turns out that and then she saw him at the family event. That's what it was. They went on a couple dates together. I think nobody actually talked about this. I'm pretty sure they were banging. And she goes to this giant familial picnic event that they have, and sure enough, she saw this dude that she was dating there. And she was like, wait, she's like, who are you related to? And like they were able to like trace like their grandparents were like second cousins or something like that. You know, like I mean, they were like fourth cousins or something at that point, but they were like technically cousins. And then they stopped banging. But I'm like, at what point is it like fifth cousins, sixth cousins? At that point, like those people are like they're so fucking far removed
What
from
about
you.
it's your cousin who is your cousin by marriage, but it's the step whatever of your uncle they married. So there's
No blood. Yeah, Nikki, what about that? No blood relation.
No.
Here's
Wow,
the
what a
thing,
prude.
The question is,
Jeez.
where does the sort of yuck factor come from? Does it come from a biological, like physiological reason, like, oh, like, you know, there's been studies shown that like something like 40% of children from first degree sexual relationships, like offspring, have birth defects, right? So obviously that's like even like plants have like anti-incest things, and like cockroaches don't bang their first relative cockroaches. Like it's a biological imperative. But then I think once you get beyond first degree, you know, which is you share 50% or more of your genetic material with somebody, there's a huge drop off in that. Like it's only like 4% more elevated or something to have birth defects. So then it becomes a social yuck factor, right? Like, no, I'm related to them. And I think for me, I don't care how many cousins removed we are. That's gross. No, thank you. Pass. Like I may be from Alabama, but I have limits, and no.
Man, no fun over here. What a prude.
Not everybody
Here,
has that same.
write this down. Sarah equal giant prude. No fun.
Yeah, definitely true. Yeah. You know, I love how last stream you were exposing me for like BDSM shit, and this stream you're like, you're a giant prude.
Yes, this is what it is to be a bully. What it is to be a bully
Yes.
is to make fun of you about the exact whatever I want at any given day. So
Yes,
you
well,
know,
it can't really be. We're friends, and I allow
Yeah.
you to do so.
This
You
is
know,
a show. It doesn't matter. And
it's
at
like
the end.
consensual bullying, which is probably somebody's kink, if we're being completely honest.
Alright.
But no, okay. So here's my question, Michael. This is a question for you.
Hmm.
If you were dating someone, and let's say you ended up in a relationship with them, like you were with them long term, everything was great, everything was happy, and you found out later you had like a New Girl situation where she was dating Robbie, and everything was great, and they were like, "Have you seen New Girl?" I assume you have.
I've seen what?
New Girl.
Girl.
Oh yeah. That's a
Okay,
that's a
so,
is
like-
that right? Is New Girl a show for women? Is that a woman's show?
I don't think so.
You know, like Sex in the
No.
City or like She-Hulk? Is that like
No.
No,
Not
absolutely
as much
not.
as Sex in the City.
No.
No, Sex and the City is definitely more toward females, but New Girl
I know a
has
lot of men
has
who like New Girl.
I
yeah,
feel
it's
like-
definitely mixed.
I feel like whenever I hear somebody bring up New Girl, it's like 9 out of 10 times it's a woman. Now I've watched the
I
entire
think
thing.
I
love
have too. I think it's forgotten by people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think guys don't think about it, but then you'll mention it and they're like, "Oh, I love that show." Like,
Yeah.
However, I would not have watched that show if it wasn't for my wife. I don't
mean,
think
that's fair.
there's a few things that I enjoy enough to watch with her that I would not watch on my own. RuPaul's Drag Race. I feel like it's for gays and broads. Great British Bake Off. I feel like is same thing.
delightful show.
You know, there's like a handful of shows like that where it's like, this is fine television. I'll watch this for fun, but I definitely would not on my own accord. And I think New Girl is one of those shows for me. I don't think I'd turn that on if it weren't for her.
I think when I first started watching it by myself, and I agree, as I watched a couple episodes, I was like, Joe would like this because there's a mix.
Yeah.
And eventually he goes, you know, Schmidt's fucking funny. And I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's funny.
That's
The coach is in my bag. Like, so, you know, not many men would gear to a show that's set called New Girl, right?
Right.
And then it's, you know, eventually once you realize this is actually both for male and female, then that's how, you know, you watch it. Because I don't think Joe would have watched it if I didn't say anything either.
I've also found that show, for men particularly, hinges on whether or not they find Jess annoying, because some men
she is
find
annoying.
her really
Yeah.
annoying,
She's
but
annoying,
some,
yeah.
but
She's
for
hot,
a lot
though, I
of men,
think.
her attractiveness overpowers
Yeah.
the fact that
Yeah.
she is annoying.
Right.
And they are
Yes.
willing to watch the show. But in the show, you may remember she dates Robbie, and spoiler alert, I guess, but the show's really old, so if you guys haven't watched it, like, whatever.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you. But she finds out that they're related. They're like third cousins or something, because they keep finding things that are in common. They're like, why do
gotta
we have so
figure
much
out-
in common? And then they realize they're actually related, and they instantly break up because of the yuck factor. But my question is, like, would you, Michael, like, if you found out you got along great with somebody you were dating, you were in a long-term relationship, and then you found out they were your fifth cousin once removed,
Yeah.
or
No,
whatever,
I don't give a shit, dude.
You don't care?
No. If it was like a fifth or sixth cousin, I wouldn't give two fucks, man. First off, I'd be more curious as to how I figured that the fuck out. Like, that's so, dude, that is so far removed. Like a fifth
There you
cousin.
go.
Like,
Well, they found out in the show because of one of those giant family reunions.
Right,
Like, she was telling a
yes.
show about her giant family reunion, and he was like, "Wait, I have that same. Wait."
yeah. Because think about it, man. Your first parents, you share a grandparent. Your second cousins, you share a great grandparent. Third cousins, you share a great great grandparent. And so, so like, fifth, sixth cousin, man, you are like fucking 5 tiers of grandparents removed. The pool of people to which you are fifth and sixth cousins with is fucking immense. You probably
This is
don't.
Mike justifying in the mirror right before he fucks his cousin.
Yeah, no. Oh, dude. Oh. By the way, if it was just banging, I wouldn't give it a fucking second thought, dude.
There's no yuck factor. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, who gives a dude? Yeah, no. I'm a fucking animal, man. I mean, I wouldn't bang anybody lower than third, but yeah, no.
Yeah, but here's
That
my
wouldn't slow
question:
me down.
Other than third.
why is third the cutoff for you? Because if the biological
A little too close. it's a little
The
because
yuck factor is higher.
you know what it
for
is. You know what it is. I think for third cousins, like I feel like I know a couple of my third cousins. I know a bunch of my second cousins, and I think I know a few third. So I think the cutoff for me is, were we raised together? You know, like
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
like is there a
Go
like a
ahead.
familial bond there? Because in that case, I'm fucking out, dude. That's hard. That's fucking that's dipping into
So
a,
that's the question, right? Like, let's say they were your fifth cousin, but you grew up with them.
then probably not, dude. Like if I'm seeing them as often as I saw like my first cousins, like if that's the case, then probably not. Although that would be a weird situation, because like I said, how many of you guys can name your fifth cousins? Nikki might.
Dude, I don't think I can name anybody past my first cousin.
Right. So that'd be a very, very unique situation. But yeah, if that were the situation, then yeah, I'd probably put the kibosh on that, because you're like, yeah, because you got to look at them at the family events and stuff, and then you're fucking. But although people are fucking sick, dude, as we were talking about last stream, there are a lot of fucking sexual deviants out there that Circa knows, that love all kinds of like fucking sexually abnormal shit
my
that we're talking
broad
about.
experience of sexual freaks.
Yeah. Circa knows
I
a
do
ton of freaks. There's probably a
do.
bunch of that are into that shit. They're like, oh my god, it's so fucking taboo. I'm banging somebody within my bloodline. This is nasty.
But there's also a difference between fantasizing about that and actually doing it, right? I mean, people fantasize about taboo shit all the time, but don't actually.
Yeah, but literally the conversation we had
grab
is
your first cousin and be like,
Circa,
let's go for a roll.
literally the
right?
conversation we had the other day is all the people that you know who indulge in their fantasies. There's fucking weird abnormal fantasies, like and how many of them there are. You were literally arguing it with me, how many of these people exist.
Yes, but not, well, to be just clear for chat, not incest fantasy specifically.
Just to be clear.
Well, you can't
Circa was
just
telling me that
clear.
incest
if
is
it's your
everywhere.
thing, right? It's still a kink.
Not one of my screening questions for, hey, want to be my friend? Are you really into banging your cousin?
Circa knows a sea of people who are banging their cousins.
It's a sad and genetically
Reddit
non-diverse sea. But no, so like here's something I wonder if the yuck factor of that would be different for people who come from sort of large extended families, where they sort of have this mentality of like, I'm related to a shit ton of people, versus like my family's very small, right? Like each of my dad has one sibling, my mom has one sibling, like I could count my cousins on one hand, like, or well, I guess two, there's six.
Yeah.
But like, you know, so I would have to really seek that out if that were going to be a thing,
Yeah,
right?
no. That's hardcore.
I wonder if it's different the more sort of extended family you have, because you kind of just figure, well, if I rule out everyone who's remotely related to me, that's a shit ton of people.
Yeah, no. If Nikki couldn't bang her cousins, who would she bang? Right? The pool's so
Who's
vast.
left?
Nobody's
Must
left.
be pretty awkward if you're a descendant of Genghis Khan, huh?
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly.
right. Yeah, I mean that's like a tenth of the population in Asia.
But I think you brought up an interesting point, like it's about how much of your shared sort of childhood you have, and I think I would broaden that to how much of your shared experience, because when you think about it, when you first start dating somebody, you're getting to know them, you're telling stories. There is a social stigma around it, understandably, because
Yeah. Do you think if there weren't a
and-
social stigma that people would be more inclined to bang their relatives?
I mean, the truth is, I think if there was
where does
lessened social stigma for anything, people are going to be more likely to do that, because a social stigma is a deterrent in and of itself.
Right. I mean, that's essentially like the reason why you and Nikki are like yuck is because culturally we're like, oh fuck, banging your cousin, dude. That's off limits. Nikki's dissatisfied right now.
But see, I would actually, I think even if it weren't a social stigma, I think I still wouldn't want that. Now, part of that though is my thing about not sleeping with people outside of a relationship, right? So I'm not gonna be just banging somebody. Like if I'm banging them, I'm with them. And like I was saying, when you date someone and you are learning about them, it would get really annoying if all of our stories were the same story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, this time my cousin, oh yeah, I know that, like, they're my cousin too. Like, so I want to be with somebody who is different.
Nikki's
right?
very turned on right now. All this taboo. We've discovered one of her kinks.
I think
Literally, 180 the other way, Michael.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think even my voice can make this better for Nikki. She's
nope,
like,
not even French. Okay, nothing is going to make it better.
no.
Nope.
Ah, ça, c'est
No.
triste.
Matt,
Shut up.
See?
Matt, is it true one of your cousins tried to ask you out for prom? Where'd he go?
He said, "Fuck this conversation.
He's out. He's like,
I'm
not
out.
doing
I'll just
this."
stay on here and
He went to go jerk off to some taboo incest porn. Harry, hang on.
He's like, I'm treating this like my third cousin and
Sorry, I
piecing
was
out,
swiping
man.
right on my cousin's Tinder. And what was the question?
No, I'm just fucking around.
Like, oh, my cousin tried to ask me. No, to prom. No.
Yeah, prom.
Thank God, you know, my cousins don't live close. They're all in like Michigan and shit, and they're hideous. So like,
Yeah, dude. Somebody
I
asked
never
me,
had that fucking temptation.
Somebody asked me that. They're like, "Oh, you're adopted, so you're not related to anybody. You could bang whoever you want in your family." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess technically, without any like actual like harm besides like."
I honestly think it takes more of a lunatic to fucking be raised with somebody that isn't their family, and then be like, you know what? I think I'd like to fuck you now. Like, that's a little weirder, isn't it?
Oh, like you didn't know who they are, but then you found out they're a cousin. And now you want to bang them?
Okay, so like if you're adopted, you come into a home, right, and you're not blood related to any of these people, but you have a sister or a brother, whatever way you're inclined into, and then as you get older, you develop like, and I'm not talking like 12, I'm talking you're 25 and you're like, I think I love my sister in a weird way now. I think that's a little weirder than like you are blood related, you know, but you don't know it, and then you find out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, that's dude. As a person who's adopted, this is a thing that is written in TV and movies. Banging your adoptive family. It happened in Umbrella Academy. The monkey dude, the white monkey dude, wants to bang the black girl who can she has secrets, right? I heard a secret is
Yeah.
they were raised together
They were
from childhood,
basically in love.
and they're banging. They're in love with each other. The Royal Tenenbaums, Gwyneth Paltrow's character is adopted and raised from childhood with the rest of the Tenenbaums by blood, and then her and Luke Wilson have a love for each other as their brother and sister, adopted brother and sister, but again raised together.
Like the Lannisters.
The Lannisters is a little bit different because it's the same shit, right? It's incest. But specifically the adopted thing, it's almost like they think it's a loophole. Even in the Flash CW show, after Barry Allen's mother is killed and her father sent to jail, he's around 9-10 years old. He's then brought, maybe even younger, he's then brought and raised by the Wests, and then falls in love with Iris West. A little bit different, right? You're maybe 8 or 9, so there's a little bit more of a leeway there. But as a person with a sister, an adoptive sister, a non-blood sister, who was raised with her from my birth, more or less. She's a couple of years younger, but who the fuck remembers those years? To adulthood, there is nothing more repulsive to me than the idea of that. Like, that is fucking vile to me. Because by all measurements, minus blood, I consider her my sister. So having any romantic notions is to me detestable. With that said, if you told me that I had an adoptive hot cousin way back when, like an adoptive hot second cousin, I probably would have fucking tried to smash. Because I'm not blood, not raised with. Yeah, why the fuck not?
Never will see you again.
Yeah. No, but to your point, Matt, all my cousins are fucking disgusting, dude. So blood related or not, no thank you.
Like the temptation, I've never understood that temptation, even in movies and shit, is because mine have always been gross. So it's I've never been sitting there looking at my cousin oh man, it's nah.
I saw that.
Get away from
I saw that there was a movie or TV show where that did happen, where somebody was trying to legit bang their cousin.
It happens in that 70s show.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, there's an episode where she convinces him that they're not actually cousins and she was adopted. And basically he gets caught trying to fucking get with her by his family, and his mother's like, I saw her come out of I saw her when she came out, we're related.
Oh God.
But that was
I
the
mean,
70s, you know, family fucking was probably pretty prevalent.
now there's like dueling research saying, like, there are some researchers saying that GSA, which is genetic sexual attraction, is a thing that, like, you're
I will
actually
sub like next week.
more attracted.
Hey,
Why?
a subscriber.
Can I
Vitamins,
afford
thank you for 29 months,
$4.99
buddy.
Today?
Vitamins, you have any cousins you want to bang?
What an opener.
John says
Bangyourcousin.org.
Mike is out, so technically he could bang his first cousin. I mean, yeah, technically, I could do, but it's just, yeah, no, first cousins. No, I was raised with those people. Like, I feel like first cousins, I would put a kibosh on.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like that's my aunt's kids.
Yeah,
My
even
uncle,
like,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's
even though I'm
weird.
adopted, I don't think I could. I don't think I as twisted and as fucked up as I could be. I don't think I could go there, dude. Because it's very similar to the sister thing. It's like, no, there's you know, there's family and there's family. You know, fuck.
If you have family that you don't call by their first name, like if it's aunt or uncle or this
Right.
or that,
Yeah,
then that's way too close.
that's real
Like,
fucking close.
In order to like do anything with family, it would have to be like, oh, we've never met. What's your name? Like, there's no way you could be like, oh no, that's TT this. Like, yeah, no, I know her. Like that, yeah. You gotta be real desperate to be fucking your cousin, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right.
Like willingly.
Vitamin
Yeah, I
says,
mean-
not that I can recall. Vitamin's got no hot cousins.
Aww. He's in the No Hot Cousin Club, just like us.
Yeah,
I
welcome to the
literally
club.
have one male cousin, and I would never sleep with him.
What do his abs look like?
I haven't seen him in years. I strongly suspect they are buried under. He's a large dude.
Oh, he's a
Yeah, I
fat
don't-
boy.
No,
she's
he's
fat
just-
people hating. Sort
Uh
of.
oh,
No.
here we go. It's
Please,
like
I'm
the
plus size.
it's like
I
the
don't hate
whale
fat
all over
people.
again.
Oh.
Standing ovation.
Let's give Circa a 6-minute standing ovation.
Oh,
Circa's not
Lord.
600 pounds though.
No.
Yeah,
even
yeah,
close.
I told you, Nikki. She's not even close.
Jesus.
knows, 'cause
Nikki put her hand up.
Nikki, that's rude.
Nikki put her hand up.
I have been on camera with Nikki recently. She knows exactly what I look like.
That's so funny. That's really funny. I she couldn't help
Got that reflex out.
it.
Yeah.
Don't try me, Dina-Cola.
The eye roll,
Yeah.
hand up. I love it.
Yeah, it was a wombo combo, that one. I appreciate it, Nikki. I appreciate that was worth a wombo combo from your end.
Mike, like Vin Diesel, you don't fuck with family. I wonder if my tune would change if like one of my first cousins was like a supermodel or something. I don't think so.
When you're younger, probably, but as you get older, it's still be like, eh.
But the other thing is like, even if they are attractive, I think being raised with somebody negates that. It like,
I
Yeah.
feel
like you
I'd
stop seeing
agree,
like you
yeah.
stop seeing them as like
hot.
but like, yeah,
Yeah.
but like that mindset where it's like, oh, this is a person of desire. I feel like that, for me, that thought process doesn't exist when it's family. See, now this is what I thought. I thought with everybody this was the case. Like when you're raised with somebody, when somebody's that close to you in life, any attraction like that is just doesn't happen. Is what I thought the default was until until the rise of step something pornography in like the last
But
10
that-
years.
The
has-
step
that-
sibling porn is crazy, and it's
But
really
that
weird.
has to do with it being taboo and accessibility reasons, right? Like it's taboo and it lives in the room next to you, right? That's why that is.
Yeah, but that
appealing to
situation
people.
is like, I mean, it's common as far as like step siblings, but it's as dumb as the old, like let me deliver the pizza with extra sausage. Like porn, they don't have good storytelling.
Well, it's not exactly
Yeah.
their priority.
I watch it for the stories. I fast forward through the sex.
Yeah, right. You read Playboy for the articles, right?
I don't read
Um,
Playboy because I don't know how to read.
Oh, it's a good thing
He
you have
has
That's
it
why-
stories,
that's what-
Audible
yeah, that's what-
audiobook.
Audible.com.
For the
Audible.
article lover in
That's
you.
their articles. But no, I mean, that's true, right? Like, to me, it's default is like not like even when my friends growing up would be like, "Oh my god, your brother's so hot," and I'd be like,
Oh wow,
like ew, like
wow.
you
Wait,
know?
did your brother bang any of your friends growing up?
No, I mean not to my knowledge, and if he did, I don't want to know. But no, I don't think so. Because my friends were constantly around the house, and like it was almost like they became sisters, sort of to him. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, my younger brother is quite attractive, and people are always like, "Oh, your brother's really hot." And I'm like, I mean, objectively, he's good looking, but ew, he's my brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's still your brother.
Like,
that's like if you have a hot mom, it's got to be awkward. I fortunately, no, not anything close, so I didn't have to take that
I love my
flight.
mom, but my mom was a pig physically.
Yeah. But could you imagine if you had a hot mom, how fucked that would
Dude,
be
that's gotta
growing
fuck you up, man. Your friends would come over and they're ogling your mom. I would say that
like,
probably
you know,
happens more with
Stop looking at my mom's tits, man.
stepmom.
We had a moment.
Stepmom for
moment.
sure. Like,
One of Jake's friends called me out
Yeah.
as I was walking away. Jake was not happy with that.
Wait,
Oh,
what did he
boy.
say? What did this little
What'd he
bastard
say?
say?
I'm in a football field. He was just like, "Well, like, well, who's that with your dad?" And he was like, "Oh, his girlfriend." He's like, "Oh, she's really hot." And Jake was like, "Shut up, dude." I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And I've never walked so fast off a fucking football field. I was like, "Shwink." I was
yeah.
like, so
Well, dude, that's
funny.
exactly what I was talking about. Like, that's the
ornery
scenario.
out there.
Because like what ends up happening is like, listen, unless you have a kid in like your teens or 20s, let's be honest, man. By the time your kid's in high school, either you've got great genetics or you've kind of aged out of being called hot. So like Nikki's probably like 10 years younger than Jake's actual mom, who's probably not hot at all. So it's usually it's the stepmom. Like when dad
Actually,
trades
she's
out.
like 50.
There you go. She's old and disgusting.
she's 50.
So she's like 20 years older than Nikki. What I'm getting at is it's when the divorcee dad trades out bio mom for new mommy, and new mommy is a fresh new model
Is
in her
not
20s,
what he did. Dickhead.
which is, you know, listen, as a teenage boy, you're definitely going to be attracted to a lady in her 20s or close versus a 50-year-old woman who's your mom. So I would say it's the new models that are more prone to, you know, the teenage boys coming over.
Because like you know, I'm in my 30s, obviously, and I still get like 18, 19-year-olds who swipe on me, and I'm like, sir.
Oh wow, good for you.
In what world would you? And I think part of that is because I
MILF
look
porn.
younger than I am.
MILF porn, dude.
But yeah, there are some guys, and it's
They
so
want
funny.
mommy.
I always message them back, and I'm like, did you? Because I'm curious. I'm like, did you realize? Like, first of all, no, not gonna happen. But also, do you realize how old I am? Like, have you looked at my age? And it's about half-half. You'll get some guys who will say, oh no, I just swiped on your pictures and I thought you were like 26 and I'm 19, so like that's fine or whatever. Which I'm like, thank you, dear, you just made my century. But also,
mommy like.
you'll get guys who are like, yeah, I don't like girls my age, they're immature, I like older women, you know. And I'm like, well, that's great, but this older
Mommy
woman
issues.
is not interested in
Yeah.
dating you.
Yeah, they want you
I'm
to.
sure you have lovely stamina, dear, but no.
They want you to put them over their lap and breastfeed them, mommy style.
Oh God.
Wait, what?
Gross.
Wait, that's not. I don't think that's how breastfeeding happens.
It does. It does on
mean,
this app.
I don't think lact.
Ah.
I'm not on any of those
Good
apps.
luck.
Thank you very
Oh
much.
my.
Yeah. I don't think
Come on over
FetLife
here
has
so you
an
can sit on my lap as I breastfeed you. Something
Yeah.
sounds weird about that.
I don't think FetLife has an app, Mike. But okay.
John Amore says,
But
I don't like
yeah.
the term new mommy.
Oh.
I don't like the
a
term
fetish
mommy
term?
in relation to like I don't. It would. There's be almost nothing that would turn me off faster than a guy wanting to call me mommy.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
exactly. Yeah, calling somebody
No.
mommy or daddy is gross and fucking.
Yeah, but what if he did
Yeah,
it
I don't put
Yeah.
mommy
in
and
a
daddy in
different
that
way
same
though?
same
What if he's
box.
like, "Hey, mommy, come here, mommy."
That's different.
That's-
You know, like
that's-
no,
dudes.
That's that's whatever.
like I'd still ignore him because
I
he's
had-
catcalling me, but like it wouldn't
But
be
he would go like this
gross.
first, and then proceed.
I used
I'll
to
be
have a
right
friend
back.
who would the way he would talk to women was like, "What's up, ma?"
What's up, ma?
Hey, yo, what
Yeah.
up, ma?
And I never understood it because, like, as a white dude, me coming up going, "What's up, ma?" That's just weird.
I've definitely seen
But
white
him,
dudes who
because
grew
he
up
was,
in the rougher
well,
areas of town do that.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
they
the
call
Eminem
those the
style.
Rappapors. The Rappapors.
Yeah, the Rappapors, the M&Ms, they kind of get a pass. A little bit of a
Yeah,
pass.
I guess, man. I don't get a pass. I get stabbed.
Yeah, well, you know the thing is, man, you'd have to do the whole affect.
Yeah,
Like-
like that's the problem is I couldn't just like,
Right.
"Hi, I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. What's
No,
up, ma?"
No,
Like,
you
it
can't
doesn't work
switch.
that
You
way.
can't switch into it. You got to be the whole 100% of the time. Be like that.
And I could do it. I could do it. I could
Yeah.
keep character.
Yeah, like
is it
what's
worth
his
it?
face? That fat fuck, Action Bronson, that guy. My
I
fellow
think that's
my
just
fellow.
him though.
Yeah, no, it is, because I went to high school with that dude, and he was he was the exact same way in the fucking 90s. he was that guy. So yeah,
You went to high school with Action Bronson?
yeah. He dropped out though, but you know, him and I were in a
Wow.
bunch of classes together. He wouldn't know me, but yeah, no, I remember the classes we were in together because he was always putting on a fucking show. You know, he'd walk in late, he'd be wearing his pajamas. It was always, you know, it was constantly.
I never understood the dudes.
look
who
at me,
wore,
look
like,
at me, look at me,
pajama
look at me.
pants to school. That was always like, what are you doing, man? Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you gotta wear a fucking suit to high school, but what do you do? Like,
Nah, dude. I
do you
mean,
have
listen,
any like dignity?
I almost fucking didn't make it out of fucking high school because I didn't give a shit. I was one of the guys that showed up no backpack with like some like loose paper and a pen, or
So you
no.
had to steal a pencil from someone?
Exactly. I barely. It was, thank God I went to public school where nobody gives a shit on how educated you are, and they just want you out of their fucking hair so that you get passed along. But dude, I graduated in summer school. I didn't graduate.
Me too. I was a piss poor student.
Yeah. So yeah, Action Bronson did a little bit worse. But look at him now, huh? Compared to everybody else, every one of those other assholes. Yeah.
Seems wealthy-ish.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you're a teenager, drop out of high school. It's not worth it, right, Nikki? Nikki fully
Yeah.
endorses this message.
I
High-
do
She does.
not.
High school's for fucking suckers.
Yep.
Nope.
It's a sucker's game. Higher education, eat my balls. If you meet somebody with a graduate degree, I want you to punch them right in the genitals, regardless of
Yeah.
race or gender. Just right there.
Tell
Fuck.
them they were a mistake.
Yeah, say you fucking nerd. No amount of studying is going to get your parents' love.
Oof. That's
Yeah.
true, you know.
Your parents are still disappointed in you.
They divorced for a reason, and that reason is
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. John agrees wholeheartedly. He
Of
said,
course, they're gonna tell you they didn't leave each other because of you, but truth is, if it wasn't for you, they'd still be together.
yeah, your parents are going to lie to you. They're going to tell you that they love you and your sibling equally, but they're lying to your face. You know deep down, you're
Yep.
their least favorite.
Mm-hmm. Have been for a while.
Yoji says, keep your hands off my crotch. John Moore says, all right, Jesus. John just
Sorry,
called me
John, or if
Jesus.
your parents are... Oh, well. I don't know if I would agree with that. I like to think Jesus is this guy that lives in the train station nearby.
Yeah, he's the guy that steals hubcaps off cars.
Sells them for dimes.
Dude, I used...
Bags.
Oh, dude, I got a fucking flat tire this weekend. I drove into Manhattan to pick up a plant at like 11 p.m. I'm driving along.
Are you trying to get fucking robbed, dude?
Dude, I hit a pothole on the highway, and then I'm like, I started hearing that slight, like,
Yeah.
it started off with a slight, grrrr, and I'm like, but the road was fucked up, hence the potholes. So I'm like, is that the road or is that the tire? So I pulled over, inspected all the tires, gave them all a kick, looked fine. I'm like, okay. Sure enough, dude, I pull over, I grab the first plant, I grab the second plant, I pull over to get a slice of pizza, walk back to the car, tire completely flat as fuck, dude. I literally have to get on my hands and
Have a
knees.
spare?
Yeah, no, I had a spare but I had to get on my fucking on Broome Street, right between Broome and Delancey, right by the Manhattan Bridge. I think it's the Manhattan Bridge off Delancey. It's either the Manhattan or the Brooklyn.
So my first question is, what the hell are you doing in Manhattan, like at 11 p.m., like doing
Dude.
a plant exchange?
Well, that's what. Well, I wait until the lady goes to sleep to drive anywhere. Yeah, I go on these late night excursions. It's not the first time, man. I've definitely gone out and like picked up my boys, and we've gone on like late night drives into Manhattan.
Well,
hang out
that's
downtown.
different. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but if you told me, hey, I'm doing a plant exchange at 11 p.m. in this city, like, I would go as backup because you're for sure going to be robbed. Like, 8 times out
No.
of 10, you
No,
don't
dude.
come back from that.
Dude, these are
mean,
the people
if
who
he
are into
does it
plants,
enough, then
much like
probably not.
much like the people who watch New Girl and RuPaul's Drag Race. It's the plant game is for gays and women. It's
Oh, okay.
yeah. There's like, dude, there was this like middle-aged woman who I'd never met before, and me and my boy John, we're driving the city. We're getting Gray's Papaya, famous hot dog spot over here. And then she's like, yeah, come by, like 10 is when I put my kids to bed. So I'm like, all right, I hit her. And I'm always more scared for them because, again, I'm about 6'1", 215 pounds. I'm not a small boy. And again, not somebody who you know. So I always try to be as non-threatening as possible. So I ring the bell. I'm like, hey, I'm downstairs. I usually like try to keep my distance away. So like I'm not like, you know, pounding on the fucking downstairs door. Let me in, let me in. You know, try to smile and be nice and polite, just to put people at ease so they don't think I'm gonna fucking snatch them up. Put people, women specifically. Gay dudes don't give a shit. Gay dudes in New York City have always been fucking some of the most bravest motherfuckers on planet Earth, dude. In the middle of the 70s and 80s crime wave, New York City is in bankruptcy. It looks like you're part of the fucking hell dimension. Gay guys were meeting and fucking each other raw dog in Central Park. Anyway. So this lady, I go to her house and she's like, come upstairs. And I'm like, what? So I hit my boy. I'm like, John, I'm going up to this lady's apartment. She's like, I'm on the second floor. I'm like, I'm apartment like 2D. So I go up, dude. I buzz and I'm like, dude, I take like 4 or 5 steps back from the door. Cause I'm like, I don't know. It's like somebody gonna fucking bum rush me. Like, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. But no, sure enough, dude, this like 40-something-year-old woman shows up and she's like, here's your plant. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And she's like, okay, have a good night. I was like, whoa. I'm like, the boldness. These people, like, I would have, if I were her, I would have had like a kitchen knife, like at the ready, like behind my back. I would have had pepper spray. I would have been so ready for attack, for violence, for something to, you know, go wrong.
Now, who requested the 11 p.m. pickup?
Well, usually what I usually ask is, hey, when are you available? And then I say, I'm available at night is when I tell people, which is true. Mm-hmm. I'm available at night. And then usually like I could do 8 or 9 o'clock, but people, maybe it's a New York City thing, but because it's the city that never sleeps, even normal people like moms like that keep late hours. I mean, the bars don't shut down here till 4 a.m. So especially if you're younger too. Oof. If you're younger too, you're down for a late night hang. So yeah, the girl I met one girl at 10, and yeah, Matt, the pickup was like this. I was driving down Crescent Street in Long Island City, and as I pull up to the apartment, she runs out of her lobby, and basically tosses the plant nicely into my passenger side seat. I wave at her and then she runs back inside her place. That was the first pickup. The second pickup was same deal. I was outside a girl, and these are classy people, man. To own like rare plants, you have to be able to fork over like I'm getting cuttings of plants, right? So I'm getting just like a little bit. I'm just getting a single leaf, and that shit can be like $30 or $50 or not cheap. To buy a whole plant, they sell these plants for hundreds of dollars. So you have to have disposable income, baby, and time. So the people who are living in Manhattan buying these plants, they're usually doing pretty fucking well, man. So I roll up to buildings that have doormen, high-rise buildings in Midtown Manhattan, high-rise buildings, and this time it was high-rise buildings in downtown Manhattan. So these are like, I'm not dealing, like, there was one dude I went to his house and he was in do or die Bed-Stuy, man. He was in that area of Bed-Stuy where they filmed Do the Right Thing. And there was the only time I felt like, holy shit, dude, where the fuck am I, man? Like, I drove to his spot through Brownsville, and it was pretty dicey. It felt like I was in RoboCop for parts of it. Hello, mother. What's up, Yoshi? What's up, Earthbound? Hello, Earthbound. Watch people like getting... Oh, what's up, Matt?
Like how you're like, your disdain was audible.
Yeah, no, so like it's not like I'm meeting these people in the really fucking nice parts of Manhattan. Anyway. That makes sense. Anyway, but busy, dude. I was on a fucking busy downtown street on my hands and knees with a fucking car jack, hands covered in fucking grease. And then sure enough, as I'm taking off the wheel, of course, I take all the fucking lug nuts off. Sure enough, the fucking tire gets stuck. The tire's rusted on. So I go, I look about how to get off a tire that's rusted on, and they're like, oh, well, use your passenger, have your passenger help you pull it off, and they're like, oh, no passenger. Yeah, I'm like, no passenger. I'm like, oh, well, in that case, just use they're like, just use a hammer, get underneath, but this dude had a car up on a lift, and he was hitting the tire from the inside of the car with a hammer. And I'm like, I got a jack on the middle of fucking Broom Street. Are you like,
yeah, I'm bending over doing this right now.
I'm not getting under. I'm not lifting it higher to get under it to hit it with a hammer that I don't have, so the thing could fucking crush me. So then then there was like, oh, you just use WD-40 to loosen up that rust. And I'm like, I don't have fucking WD-40 in the car. I should, but I don't. So the last option was like, just kick the tire, just kick it. Like, and there was a picture of a dude doing like jujitsu, or not jujitsu, fucking Muay Thai. He was doing it on a tire. I'm like, just do that. So I was like roundhouse shin checking the fucking tire, and then it worked. It actually popped off at the very end. Anyway, that was my weekend. I haven't changed a tire since I was a teenager. So fun. Nikki, do you know how to change a tire?
Actually, I don't. I was telling Joe about that. My dad never taught me, and he's like, "We need to fix that." And I was like, "We do," because I'd like to know. God forbid, because I don't even have AAA or anything. So I'd be like, "Hey, come help."
Oh, that's how you get snatched up, Nikki.
Get snatched up.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna call Joe for help. He won't be there. You're gonna have to call up a friend or family. And if you call family, they're gonna try to bang you.
You're so stupid. Thank you.
What's in it for me? Earthbound. Hey, Earthbound. Have you ever been inclined to bang any of your cousins?
Oh, Jesus.
I bet he has, that fucking scoundrel. Maybe it's less of a taboo in Holland. What do you think? How is a cartel boss not able to afford AAA?
Said that.
Bale said that.
Shut up, Bale. Why isn't he online?
Shut up, Beavis. Bale, how come you're not in voice chat, you fucking pervert?
What did you say last time when you used the Beavis word?
When I use the Beavis? Don't you worry about when and how I use Beavis.
In bed.
Call me Beavis.
Settle down. Beavis is what you did?
Yes. It's always settled down.
I was like, whoa. Is it? Oh. I really enjoyed when you said that, because I was like, whoa.
Does Bale give you a Beavis vibe, you guys?
No.
Bulgarian Beavis? I could see it.
BB?
Double B. I don't have cousins. Wait, Earthbound. What happened to your cousins? He ate them all, as is Dutch tradition.
Speaking of eating people, has anybody watched the new Dahmer series on Netflix?
Speaking of eating people, Nikki's like, I was eating some coochie this one time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I know how Dahmer ends, dude. Jeffrey Dahmer is fucking. He is. How do I put this? He gets his fucking skull caved in by a giant chocolatey prisoner for mouthing off.
I didn't ask if you knew what happened, which I assume if you're interested in serial killers, you would know. But I'm talking about the new series that came out.
No, I have not seen it, but I'm fully aware of what Dahmer did. He was drilling holes into people's heads. He was taking out chunks of their brain. He was eating them. He was serving them to other people. Dahmer did horrific things. Also, there's a tale that's honestly heartbreaking if you have a heart. He's banging this little Filipino man, maybe Thai man, whatever, who cares, same thing. And he starts to assault him, as he does his victims, and this Thai boy runs out. He runs out into the street to escape Dahmer. Approaches a couple of policemen, and it's like, help me, this guy's gonna kill me. And the police officers are like, basically, get the fuck out of here, deal with your gay shit elsewhere. And then Dahmer catches up to them, and Dahmer's like, oh, don't worry about him, we're just having a lover's tiff. And then again, the cops are like, fuck off, get the fuck away from us. And Dahmer drags his Thai ass back to this house and fucking murders him. Anyway, that's the story. Did they do that in the show, Nikki?
I only watched the first episode because my Discord wants to watch it on Discord. I gotta figure out if I can still do that. But I was really just reading the reviews about how Evan Peters is when it comes to his acting and how he did such a phenomenal job that people are kind of like worried about his mental health because he's only been portraying, really
Yeah.
like disturbing roles. And this one he
And
like
Quicksilver.
nailed it. And I was like, whoa. And I think at one point, and I'm into true crime, I'm into serial killers. I live for that shit. And I watched the first episode last night, and there was a moment because of the types of things that they showed. I was like, oh shit! Like, and then it takes a lot for me to say that. It takes a lot for So again, I haven't seen the rest of it yet. I just wanted to see the first episode, and you're just like, just wild. And seeing this guy really hone into this character, I read up on an interview, and he just was like, it was one of the hardest things I had to try to portray and like dive into. But he nailed it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like? I know Nikki does, but and I think John Moore does as well. I think John Moore doesn't like serial killer stuff as much as he likes horror in general. I'm the opposite. I don't mind horror stories and movies. Not generally my forte. I don't usually watch them on my own. I know Matthew loves horror, giant horror buff. But do you guys like serial killer stuff? That's more my jam. Serial killers, murder mysteries, missing persons. That's my bread and butter.
I'm not a huge horror movie fan, just not because I find them scary or anything. I don't know. I don't find them interesting for the most part. But I do like psychological thrillers. So I do like serial killer stuff, and I mean some of that also probably ties into my background and training, right? But human psychology in general is really
and also you're a woman.
to me. Yes, that is true. I am in fact a woman, revealing all of my secrets. But yeah, I mean, for heaven's sakes, I went to school to be a prosecutor, so like true crime is definitely up my alley. But horror, not so much. Like, I will watch a horror movie if it's like so stupid it's funny, or so that I can have an excuse to jump on a guy that I like. I was like, oh, I'm so scared. Like, I don't ever volunteer to watch horror movies, generally speaking.
Oh, let's see. But Circa, you know what I said? You're a woman. You know what I meant by that, right?
Yes, meaning that all women like true crime.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, a 2010 study found that 70% of Amazon reviews of true crime books are by women. Compared to books about war, where 82% of the reviews on war books are by men. And those numbers, that like high 70s and upwards, those are basically the statistics and the demographics of the audience of those who watch serial killer documentaries. It is, true crime specifically is the domain of women. Like that is their forte. They, for some reason or another, I'm not sure why, I'm sure a psychologist would have some insights. They love true crime. Whip and me, much like plants and RuPaul's Drag Race, homosexuals, women, and me. Me, the most heterosexual man you've ever met. They call me Mr. Heterosexual.
But you do like a lot of things that aren't heterosexual.
I know. You know, I'm like the Lewis and Clark of heterosexuals. Yeah, I'm trying to break the barriers down, to make things more welcoming in a they-them world, Matthew.
Well, I mean, when you are doing 11 p.m. Plant pickups to housewives, you do want to be able to communicate with. So you do watch the latest RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hey, girl.
Have you seen what they're doing to Meredith Grey this season?
Oh God, dude, I've never watched that That's where I put my fucking foot down, dude. I would never.
Yeah, my wife likes that. I could not.
No, I tried. I gave it every chance. I gave it one episode, and it was fucking excruciating. I was miserable. Miserable. Yeah. Nikki, do you watch that show? Tell me the truth. I won't lose much respect for you.
What show?
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
No, I've never seen that show. Why the fuck would I want to tear my heart out?
God.
Right?
Love Nikki.
They're like, oh, you should see it because it's like, it's so, you'll cry. Why the fuck would I cry? You know what? I'm going to go watch Dahmer again try to, you know, fuck this guy and then try to kill him. And that's my vibe, okay? I'm not trying
Yeah.
to cry over that shit.
Nikki wants to watch gay guys fucking and killing. Man,
Nope,
Nikki,
that's not what I said. That's not
that's
how I
literally
portrayed it
what
like
you
that.
said.
That's not like I'm portraying it. It's like I'm gonna see it because you know it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna lay on his chest, listen to his heart, and then just say I'm gonna eat it. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Nikki Gonzalez, unapologetic freak. The Nikki autobiography coming soon to a Barnes and Noble near you.
Perfect.
Chapter 1. Who's eating who?
We'll have John Amore do the art.
We'll have John Amore do the Filipino voiceover with that thick Filipino accent of his.
Thick.
Yoji, there are women who chase after killers. That's the other thing too. That is another thing. Serial killers always have their like diehard like fans that want to bang them.
Ted Bundy had a fucking.
Ted Bundy was as far as serial killers in the 70s go, he was a handsome dude. I mean, I didn't want to bang him, but there are definitely gals who
very
did.
Small pool. Like his competition wasn't stiff. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think there were that many serial killers in the 70s.
As stiff as a corpse.
Nice.
Yeah, there aren't any hot like female murderers. Like the only one I know of is the one that Charlize portrayed in Monster, and that gal is rough on the eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's not hot at all.
Yeah, Charlize Theron had to like do the most to ugly herself up.
Yeah, she ate Haagen-Dazs and punched herself in the head daily.
One punch to the head, one punch to the
What
vagina.
about Harley Quinn, huh?
Oh, God.
That's real life.
There's only been a couple of modern female serial killers, or at least they were caught. Eileen Werno, thank you. Yeah, she was a truck stop hooker, right? And then she just started killing them?
Lot lizard.
Lot lizard. Yeah. Glad you guys are caught up on the vernacular.
Yep.
You know what Chicagoans.
The more you know.
Bling, 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 bling. Lot lizard.
Why don't you just use your sound effect?
Because it's funnier when I do it with my mouth. AKA analog. Because I'm literally,
Just like
I was
the other-
literally too lazy.
When we first started hanging out and we were playing Call of Duty and you did the horse neigh and me and Ree were like, what the fuck was that? And you were like, I literally have a command for this. I don't know why I did that.
Oh, now I know why. I'm literally too lazy to move my hands from the mouse and pen to actually type it out.
Oh, type it out? Okay. Don't
Yeah.
you have a... Can't you press a fucking button on
No.
those keys that are empty?
Cause, dude, I use those buttons. And also, I only have like 9 free things. So, and I've got 9 free keys, and I've got 300, almost 400. I've got 300 or 400 sound effects.
Dude, I still never set up my stream deck. I gotta do that soon.
Ooh,
I
and
just
you're
don't know how
coming
to
at
do it.
me? At least I set mine up. Now
I don't know how to do it. I'm working on it. I'm learning, okay? Relax. But I'm just saying, you're like, I'm too lazy to type it when you have 9 empty spots and you could use one of those for, you know, bouncing around or dun 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 dun.
That's true, but I'd have to find like the most used one. So,
Yeah,
maybe I have to
we're gonna
write it.
have to have like pay attention to your chat to see which one's always used. I like the clap. I feel like
That's a classic one. That's Yoji's fave.
that's because I'm here and Corey. They only put it when I'm here.
Hey, Circa, would you say you've dated more Southerners or Northerners?
Well, do you mean like people who live there or are originally from?
Did they fight for the North or South in the Civil War?
Yeah. Are they pro appealing the 13th Amendment or not?
I mean, in
By the way,
fairness, most of
everybody that was
life
born
dating
and
are-
raised in the South are racists, as we know. Republican racists, we hate them.
Gosh,
Listen,
you're
they
calling me out
still.
right and left.
Circa just tucked away her Confederate flag in the background. She just took down her.
I use a virtual,
She just picked up her drawn portrait of Robert E. Lee. She just put it face down. I saw that.
Her Confederate flag
It would
bandana.
be
she
really
was
hard
proudly
to
wearing
disassemble
prior.
my shrine to Robert E.
boy.
Lee. You know, I would say I've dated more Northerners because I was married for most of the time that I lived in the South, right?
Is he a
So I
Southerner
was-
too?
Obviously, was. Oh yeah.
Oh, did he have a Southern twang?
Yes, he did. He's from Mississippi.
Did you
Talk like molasses is coming out your mouth.
did you verbally abuse him the way Anthony Hopkins abused Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs? Did you call him a Southern
No.
Rube?
Well,
no.
I've never
With your
seen Silence
cheap
of the Lambs,
shoes.
but no, I'm not in the habit of abusing my partner verbally or otherwise.
God, I would love to. I would love if she did, right, Nikki?
We're not talking about this.
But no,
Yeah.
he did have a Southern accent, but I did too when I was in the South. I got rid of mine
Gross.
largely.
He said,
So-
gross. That shit,
so I
that shit
can-
catches on though. I lived in Texas for only 2 months, and I came back, and they're
Oh.
like, "How do you have a twang already?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I
Nikki,
I had a Southern accent a little bit growing
Hi,
up, and then when I
y'all.
went to college,
they're like, bitch, you're from fucking Illinois.
Bitch.
the first time I called my mom, I went to University of Alabama, and the first time I called my mom after being there for like maybe 2-3 weeks, and everyone had like a really strong Southern accent, and I wasn't, in high school I would go home to my family and they didn't really have one, so it kind of like balanced it out. I had a little bit of one, but not a strong one. I called my mom. I was like, "Hey, mom."
Hi.
She's like, "Oh my god," and I was
She's
like,
like,
"What? What's
"You
going on?"
Fucking
She's
hillbilly.
like, "You sound like fucking Scarlett O'Hara. What the hell happened to you?"
He's like fucking
Yeah.
trash.
She's like, yeah, you
She
fucking-
turns into Vince McMahon.
She was like, you're
But yeah.
fucking poser.
I had a fairly strong Southern accent up until I moved, maybe a year after I moved up to sort of DC area, and then I learned how to flip it on and off. But I can still.
Circa
flip it
sounds
on
like
and
a
off.
prospector from the Gold Rush.
No, that's like an
Well,
Appalachian.
look what we
Like,
got here now.
there's gold in them there hills. Like, no, that's
Yeah.
like Appalachia. I don't fuck with that shit.
How dare you? Well, yeah, those fucking hill people that bang and eat each other.
Hey,
But,
somebody has to be the people in the hills that have eyes, right?
I mean,
God.
there's some good people up in those hills, I suspect. But
Yeah.
but it will come back if I'm around other Southerners, or if I'm watching football, it comes out, or if I'm angry.
Yeah, because she uses the
that's-
N word when she watches football, you guys.
I do not. That
Oh,
is
Nikki's
not
mouth!
true.
I got Nikki's mouth open. Woohoo!
Don't. He said, "Woohoo!" He's so stupid.
Why did you woohoo sound
Yeah.
like your squeak from the other day? Like,
Oh my god,
"Ee,
that shit was so
woohoo."
funny.
That's my jubilation. What I do is I say horrific things and then I immediately look at Nikki.
Yeah. He goes, tee woohoo.
It's literally the only reason to do it, to get that
But
reaction.
no, if you'd met me in college, I would have
Got
talked
it.
more like this. That was my sort of standard
You
Southern.
sound like fucking Blanche
accent.
Devereaux.
Oh no, that's even, you make that even stronger. So that's my I got pulled over by a cop voice. Is I will instantly
I
switch
got
into a really syrupy sweet.
I got
of
pulled over
Blanche
by
Devereaux
a-
style accent.
I got pulled over by a Texas something state trooper once. He let me off with just a warning. Me and my friends. Very nice. I was shook
Yeah,
though,
I almost always I very rarely get a ticket.
because you have your tits out.
No, because I'm
Does help.
kind and respectful, and because I instantly turn on the Southern accent, which tends to make men dissolve into a puddle. So it works out well. If I ever get a female cop, I'm screwed. But
Yeah, wait, what are you getting pulled over for, dude? All right, here, guys, write this down. Circa, she regularly breaks traffic laws.
no, I've been pulled over twice. Once for speeding because
Indecent exposure.
I was behind somebody who was going really slow, and I sped up to get around them, and there was a cop right there, and they flagged me for it. I was in high school. And then I got pulled over one time because I turned right at an intersection on red, which was fine. That was not the problem. But where I lived before, the rule with like intersections with crosswalks was that as long as the person was on the other side of the like median, you were fine. Like, because there's no way you're gonna like run them over, right? They're not on your side of the median. But in Maryland, the rule is if there's anybody in the crosswalk at all, you are not allowed to turn across the crosswalk.
Oh shit.
And so I did, because I didn't know. Note when you move somewhere new, update yourself on their state law. But I turned, and I got pulled over along with like 5 other people because it was the end of the month, and they
Jesus Christ.
doing it
I
on purpose.
fucking
And actually-
hate that. I
and it
hate that
turned
they.
out
Yeah.
that the person in the crosswalk was a cop in plain clothes. They were doing it on purpose. they were having him walk really slowly across the crosswalk to see how many people they could get. And
What
I
assholes.
knew, because I was in law school at the time and I recognized him. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen him in court in uniform. And they were like, yeah, but he's still technically, you're not allowed to pull across. And I was like, I appreciate that, but this is bordering on entrapment. And I happen to know your chief really, really well because we worked at the courthouse. And he let me off. He was like, okay, we'll let you go. And I was like, good plan, sir.
Oh, fucking traffic quotas for cops.
I was like, darling, that is an
It's
excellent plan. Thank you so much. And have a
despicable
wonderful
that they
day.
do that, and they have the cops be fucking meter maids.
Yeah, well, and he didn't want to do it. He just needed to make his quota, you
Right.
know? And,
But that's what we're talking about. Like, yeah,
I
no.
wasn't mad at him, but I did take it up with his superior when I saw him at the
Yeah.
court next. I was like, by the way,
Yeah, it's bullshit
Devin pulled me over.
that they have that happen. Like,
He's
being
like, did he give you a ticket? And I was like, no, I sweet talked my way out of it, but you shouldn't be doing that. And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, my boss makes me, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he goes
It
up
comes
the chain.
down. It comes down from on high that they have to do this, and they have to have quotas,
Mhm.
and it's detrimental to their careers as police officers if they don't.
Oh, I know. I mean, one of my exes was a cop. He and I
Right.
talked about this extensively.
Yeah, no, my dad was. My dad was a lieutenant.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah. So, yeah, no, he told me all about it. He hated it. Because, and also it breeds contempt among the communities. Yoji says some small towns, their entire budget is based on entrapment and seizing money.
Border towns.
What was the last ticket
Kinda
you
suck
got,
to
Matt?
live in this, like, seatbelt ticket, I think.
No seatbelt. Whoa, you're no seatbelter?
No, I wear my seatbelt. What happened was I was going to work
Oh,
and
boy.
I normally go, well, you know, I was dumping of bodies. I normally would, at that point, I was going to Starbucks and I would normally go through the drive-thru, but I went to one that didn't have one. So I went in and it was like 3 minutes from my office. Completely
Yeah.
forgot to put the seatbelt on. And he pulled me over like a block from my office. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Shit. Yeah, I got a seatbelt one.
$55.
I got seatbelt one too. It was the same. I was doing flower deliveries and I was riding shotgun, and we were literally like 2 blocks in between deliveries, and the cop saw. Like we were getting ready to pull over so I could hop out and deliver flowers and hop back in, and the cop's like, oh. But you know, what they were to add to Circus Story. These cops were set up on that cross section of road to catch people. Like, it wasn't just one, it was a small team of them looking for any little thing because it was end of the month and they had quotas to meet, which again, completely fucked, dude. Some small towns,
Yeah, I feel like that stuff, it does happen out here because I live south side Chicago, and I'm like technically a south suburb, but I'm 2 minutes from the border of the actual city, so it's a mix of nice and ghetto over here. But the further you go south, you start going to the actual nice suburbs. And that's where it gets like where I live, they're cops, as long as you're not fucking killing each other, they don't give a fuck what you're doing.
nice.
Like they've got real crime that they're fucking with. They don't need to worry about quotas. But like as you go further into the south suburbs, that changes to where it's like you see them posted up everywhere. What they love to do is we have these bridges that go over the river, like the waterways in the more industrial areas of the south side. Where they love to hang out right at the bottom of each side of the bridge.
Like fucking
Because
trolls.
there's always that decline. And even if you were doing 30, which if that's the speed limit, on that decline you're picking up 5 or 10, and they'll get you for it.
God, motherfuckers.
That is, they do that. So over here, if you have like even like, I mean, you got cornfields over here sometimes, but there are some areas where you'll spot they're hidden, and some of them actually you're supposed to do this, like have like those like your not the full headlights on, you know, like I don't know what they're called.
Flood or the high beams.
Well, no, like the ones that are like yellow, like the ones that like you're supposed to have those on to show that you're there. And we've caught a few that actually would turn off everything completely.
Oh, your hazard
just
lights.
to make sure. Oh yeah, I guess like the front parts. Yeah, I don't. But like I've caught that here, and I'm like, I could be. I think only the one time that I speed, so I got
Jesus
pulled over
Christ.
once. I got pulled over once. That was fine. I went to the class because I was like, whatever. But there was one moment on the way to work. I was like, there's guy was going so slow. So I went on the other lane, and I went on the other lane, got in the middle, and I like floored it to try to, because I'm just like, I want to get somewhere. Well, I fucked myself over because there was a cop heading on the opposite way. And I watched him as a rear view. He made a U-turn, so I made myself go into the gas station and pull. I was like, "Fuck!" Now I gotta pull over because this guy just. I was doing, I think, 60 and a 40. I was just fucking flying.
Little speed demon over here.
I pulled over, got it. I went to the gas station. Didn't need to, but I got a coffee anyway. So I guess I was like, treat myself, right? Saw the cop coming up to where I was coming, slowly looking for my car, and then he went like the other way, and I just kind of waited, and then I got back in my car and went to work.
I've heard of motorcyclists actually fucking running from the law and being able to smoke the law on the bike.
Well, yeah, because after a certain point, they're not supposed to chase.
Interesting. I mean, also
Like,
the,
if it starts to, the rule is if it starts to endanger surrounding citizens, you call off the chase.
Good to know. I mean, I don't know how to ride a
Well, I mean, in
motorcycle.
Chicago, they put in that new policy where there basically is like anything that isn't a serious crime is basically do not chase for.
Who put that in?
Like
Mayor Beetlejuice?
You can, yeah. Well, part of it, yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Boy, she really
Beetlejuice,
is a
Beetlejuice.
piece of shit, bro.
She, I
Just
mean,
as like a person, I don't think
I don't know anything about
even
her.
if she wasn't the mayor, I would not like her. She just seems like an asshole.
I don't know anything about her personally. Just that she looks like
Well,
Beetlejuice.
she's ruining, she's another mayor in a long line of piece of shit mayors, ruining a city, and then rather than explaining herself, decides to attack people and try to justify why her city's in the dumps. You know, it's everything else but her fault.
Yo, she says she's a dipshit.
She really is.
God. Well, this is what happens when you vote Democrat, right, Serica? Serica just put the Robert E. Lee portrait back up.
It never went down. But
I don't know how she got elected. I mean, it's the problem is it's Chicago, man. It's a Democrat city. It's going to be voted Democrat city. If you leave the city, that's where all your red state voters actually are. Like, Illinois is a red state, but because Chicago is a blue city, Illinois is a blue state.
I mean, that's most. We talked about this the other day. Most cities, even southern cities, even.
Yeah, but it's crazy though. Like, you get a half hour, an hour outside the city. Like,
Yeah.
when Trump was running and when he was in power, fucking Illinois was full MAGA. And then you go into Chicago.
Right.
Same
It's
thing
like,
with Virginia, right? You go to Arlington, anywhere near DC, super liberal. But you get further out into Maryland, you get further out into Virginia, and it's a lot more.
Yeah.
You know,
Texas is a weird
MAGA
one
happy.
because
Well, dude.
it's weird. The big cities in Texas are also being taken over.
I was in upstate New York this weekend, and you better believe as I was driving around, I was in the Poughkeepsie area, driving around up there, I saw a ton of Trump 2024 either stickers in the car or little pop-ups on the lawn.
it's one of the reasons I couldn't move back to the South. Probably, I'd have to have a really good reason to move back to the South. I've been out for too long, and my tolerance is low for that kind of
I
nonsense.
think if you're talking about moving somewhere and when you discuss it, you have to go, I don't know how much I could tolerate that place. Maybe you shouldn't move there ever again.
I mean,
If it's
that's
more like
fair.
I have to, if I'm living there, you're tolerating your living area.
But
Maybe
I
just
think-
focus on places like you want to live.
But I think there are things that you tolerate about every area, right? I mean, like I love California, but there are things I don't like about California for sure, right? And if I had moved directly from the South to California, California would have been way too liberal for me. Like I wouldn't have been able to handle it probably.
What are some liberal policies that you find a bit much in California?
Homeless people can shit on your front lawn.
Just bingo. I mean, that's fun.
I do think that there's a lot of, but again, I want to make blanket statements because one, I know what you'll do with that mic, but also
Oh, you don't need to make them. I'll just make them for you.
it's the homeless or the unhoused situation. We call them out here. What? That's,
Yeah, 'cause
you'll
if
get
you're
in trouble.
short, you're vertically challenged.
The
You'll get
fucking
in trouble
bums.
for calling people homeless out here.
She's,
It's a problem, but it's like I don't know how to solve it either. You know, it's complicated.
know,
But yeah,
Burn them
there
all. We've talked about that.
there definitely is a very different sort of mindset when it comes to that, and the tolerance for just. I mean, I remember when I first got to LA and I was staying in Hollywood in an Airbnb while I was apartment hunting, and I was walking Isabel one night, and I was on FaceTime with my mom because she insisted. She was like, "Get on the phone," and I was like, "Mom, I'm a grown ass woman. I lived in Baltimore for 8 years. Like, I'm safe. I promise." But you know, I'm on FaceTime, and she sees behind me like that there were like a bunch of tents set up on the sidewalk, and she was like, "What is that? Is there like something?" I was like,
City
"No, those
camping,
are just those are, you know, unhoused."
Those are fucking
people."
bums.
And she was like, "They set up tents like on the," and I was like, "Yeah, it's not, they don't get bothered." I mean, like, it frequently happened. I mean, I would walk out of the Airbnb, there'd be like a homeless guy that just like passed out on the sidewalk. You're just like, you know, like it's just part of it. And
Yo, G, those are your neighbors.
and for the most part, they don't bother me. The only time it's a problem is when they sort of come up and want to pet my dog
Pet?
or pick her
Oh,
up.
I thought they were
And
trying
I'm
to pet
like,
you.
no. And I'm like, hey, like, she's my service animal. Could you not like just?
Is she
don't,
actually
you
a
know?
fucking service animal, or are you lying to
She
or
is.
the homeless?
No, she's actually my service animal.
For
So,
you're partially blind.
she's my.
See, I don't know why you would be so nice. I'd be like, get the fuck away from my dog, you fucking bum.
Yeah.
Or would you be nicer about it? Get the fuck away from my dog, you fucking unhoused.
Honestly, part of it is probably because I'm just inherently a fairly nice person, but it's also it's a safety thing, right? You as a male can get away with more of that. If I get that aggressive with someone, the odds are higher they're going to get really aggressive back with me.
Dude, that
Right.
means
Do
the
you have
place
mace?
live is it, like if you actually have to worry about that, like, is there anywhere in, like, are you in the LA area? Is that the problem?
I mean, this was when I was in Hollywood. I'm in
Oh.
a different area of LA now, and it's not an issue. And no, I don't carry mace.
Because that
generally
seems
speaking.
pretty
Oh,
fucked
see,
up.
I'd carry
like,
fucking mace, dude.
Because
I-
what that says to me is you can't like hold your own without having to assume you're going to engage in violence to these fucking pieces of garbage.
Dude, I'd
But here's
carry.
what you
I
have to
want to
remember.
carry mace now, and I'm never accosted.
Here's what you have to remember is that like a lot of the sort of unhoused population
Bums.
has pretty severe mental
Fucking
health.
bums. They're fucking
issues,
crazy.
right?
I'm
So-
translating circa politically
thank
correct
you.
speak for
Thank
normal
you,
speak.
Michael. And so they have reactions that, you know, it's not even just a
You'll get
a
stabbed,
safety
spit
thing from,
on.
like,
They'll hit you with a heroin needle.
Mm.
Jesus.
I mean, he's right, but that's a
Yeah.
problem, right? Like, I'm sorry, but if I'm walking down the street and like I have to be concerned about, and I get it, I 100% agree with you that the biggest problem with the bums is the fact that a lot of them are mentally ill. But I honestly, if it becomes like my safety or me showing you respect, my safety comes first. Like, I will fuck a bum up if I think he's
Yeah.
getting too close and he's like, I'm
Get
sorry,
that.
I don't
Yeah.
play that. Like, I don't care if you're mentally ill. I'm mentally ill. I'm just not as bad as you are. Like, fuck off.
No,
Can
and I
you?
get
You
that. I
could
mean,
probably. All right, legally speaking, they probably give you some leeway, right? So, like, if you're accosted by a homeless person, and like you beat the shit out of them, you could probably get a little. You could probably get a little leniency.
You have the right to use only as much force as will mitigate the situation reasonably.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah, but what's
shoving them
reasonable force
so-
if somebody's
so-
on drugs or something and they're
so
not feeling
shoving
pain?
them away from you, spraying them with mace, like that's probably doable. Beating the ever living shit out of them, not doable.
Unless you run.
and it
How close
varies.
they get if you
And
touch
it
you.
varies, of
Yeah.
course, from jurisdiction to
Run.
jurisdiction.
You got to run,
But-
and then you got to lie to the cops, say that the person you saw a
This
knife
is
on him.
terrible life advice, chat. Do not
Yeah,
take this
absolutely.
advice.
Listen
But
to
isn't,
what I'm
isn't that the
saying.
problem? Like, if let's say you get accosted by a unhoused and they touch you and they push
You
you,
seem like they're
and,
walkers.
and you knock them out cold, is there anything you think you're gonna have to worry about?
I mean, again,
not if you run before the cops show up. No eyewitnesses.
That's what I'm saying. Though, like the
Situation
fact that the
and-
cops would come to you and be like, "Why were you getting so violent with this this unhoused person who touched you?" It's like, because the unhoused person touched me. That's why I got violent with them.
I feel
Well,
like the
look,
cops
I mean,
would
I
give you
think
a
the
pass.
question. I feel
I
like
don't
the
know.
question also becomes like,
LA.
if someone who wasn't unhoused touched you in that way, would
Same
you also
reaction.
beat the shit out of them? You know what
Same
I mean?
reaction.
for me, I found, I've lived, obviously I lived in DC, I lived in Baltimore, I've lived internationally. Like, I've dealt with homeless across a variety of sort of places and jurisdictions. And for me, the best way to avoid anything is just to ignore them. And usually they come up to me and approach me not in an aggressive way, but just because Isabel's cute, they want to pet her and whatever. But she's my service animal. So when we're in public,
What service is she providing?
Isabel is my psychiatric service animal because I have
Mom's
depression and
sniffing dog.
anxiety. So
Oh,
she,
wow.
Me too.
Is she
so
licensed?
so she's been. So there's a difference
Whoa.
between
My
an
dogs aren't smart
ESA,
enough for
which is
that.
an emotional support animal, and that's different. That's just like, I don't want to say it's a glorified pet, but they don't have to be trained. You don't have to certify that they're trained if you get on a plane with them. You don't have to have a doctor's note, any of those things. Isabel is my PSA, my psychiatric service animal. So she is actually trained for, I used to really have panic attacks a lot. And she's trained to, when I'm doing that, she senses it and she literally will like sit on my chest and like use her weight to like soothe the panic attack. She can tell when I'm sleeping too much because that's one of my telltale signs that I'm in a depression cycle. So she will actually wake me up. She will make sure that I get up on a normal schedule.
Damn, Circa, I didn't know you had crazy brain.
I object
Crazy
to the
brain?
term crazy
Yeah.
brain, but
Yeah.
I've struggled with depression and anxiety since I was a teenager.
Whoa. This is
and-
mind blowing.
and-
Dude, I thought you had it all together. Man,
Well,
I was
I mean,
deceived. You guys, Circa
here's
lied
the
to me.
reality. You
She's
can,
brain broken like the rest of us. Now I know
you
why
can
she's
have
here.
it, you can quote unquote have it all together
One
and
of
still
No.
suffer from these
One
things. They're
of us.
remarkably
One
common.
of us.
Oh,
Goo
absolutely.
gobble, goo boo gobble. One of us.
I'm not at all ashamed of my mental health stuff because
Yeah,
the truth
no.
is I have largely
Yeah.
come through it, and
Dude,
I think
listen, we're all
should be talked about
we're all
more,
mental retards
know?
here just like you. So you're welcome.
Aw, we're all one big
Yeah.
broken family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, particularly when I went through my divorce, it got really bad, right?
Sure. Yeah,
and
that,
so,
that piece of shit
um,
husband. He broke your brain.
but I,
Motherfucker.
Southern bastard.
I hope that hillbilly gets hit by a fucking boulder on the Appalachian Trail.
Sir,
Yeah.
don't make me defend him.
No.
Don't make me defend him. I don't.
No,
wanna
I
do
wish
that.
I wish
Like,
ill will towards him.
Hope a tractor trailer falls on top of him.
Yeah.
Well, these.
Yeah, I hope
these
he's banging his
sentiments
cousin
are
and he
not-
falls off the bread and breaks his falls off the
Fucking
bread.
cousin, fucking tractor trailer riding piece of shit.
Yeah, Nikki, you chime in. You give one.
These sentiments do not reflect how I feel about my ex-husband, for the record.
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't
should.
care enough to provide. I don't
Oh.
care enough for him to provide an
Ooh.
opinion, so I say nothing.
oh, I love you, Nikki.
Ooh. Nikki says, "Who? I don't know him."
Yeah.
I don't know him either, and I have an opinion. I hope he gets the gout.
Yeah, I hope his lover
no.
pulls off his condom and sex without telling him and he gets AIDS. That's what I hope.
Oh, you don't have to tell your
Wow.
lover if you're in California that you've got that, by the way.
You
All
don't.
right,
That's the most
moving-
egregious law.
Moving on from my ex-husband, for the record, for whom I hope he's doing quite well, and I do not wish him any ill will.
Why don't you wish him any ill will? Just curious.
That's not
I
healthy,
would.
Matt. That's not
Are
healthy.
you?
I'm
genuinely-
clearly not healthy.
I know, I'm
mentally,
not
but-
healthy either.
You genuinely want to know? Because I'll tell you. I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
I mean, I don't see. Here's the things. I don't know the ins and outs. So, like,
Yeah.
your relationship, I just presume that divorce is always kind of a messy
I
thing.
will-
For all I
I
know,
will-
you had one of those divorces where it's like, oh, I guess we just don't like
Yeah,
each
was
other.
it? All right, yeah.
Bye.
No.
Yeah,
First
but like,
question.
here's the thing. You've asked the question. Do you generally want to know it or not?
Hang on. I don't think Matt wants to know.
Why are you getting
but-
down my
yeah,
throat? I
yeah.
do. I was just talking to Circa.
then
Jeez.
Circa
I'll be honest.
can't answer.
I am curious about this from the viewpoint of, was it amicable, to Matt's point?
The decision to get divorced was amicable.
Okay.
The actual divorce itself was not.
The
It was
logistics.
very contentious. It was very contentious.
Oh.
And legally complicated, which is why I actually got so
Oh.
mad at you when you talked about it on stream, because we were still dealing with it, and it was like a legal matter, an open legal matter, and I was like, you can't talk about this shit. Like,
Oh, fuck.
that's why I got so heated with you.
She took him for everything he was worth, fortunately.
I did not. I took what I thought was fair, and actually, I probably
See,
let him
there
off
I
a
wish
bit
she
light.
would have gouged him a little bit.
Yeah, you and everybody else. I mean,
What's
my family,
fair?
my friends
Fair.
are
All right.
like-
Fair to me is because he's a doctor now, and you're with him since college. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, Bezos' wife took half, but she was with him for like 40 years or whatever the fuck. I feel like, you know what? She just half of that seems fine by me, right? To me, that seems,
Yes,
like,
well, unfortunately, my ex-husband did not share your opinion.
that's bullshit, dude. If you're
and-
there from Jump Street, and then they, are able to achieve this certain amount of success, and then you part ways, but you were there as a part of the team partnership, you're fucking. I say that's Matt. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I think like let's say I became rich and my wife and I for whatever reason separated.
Yeah.
I became a big streamer, blah blah blah. She would definitely get half.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you were there. I mean, for one, it also I think depends on the relationship you have, though.
Right.
Like I'm really close with my wife. She's my confidant. She's
Ditto.
like
Partner.
my closest person. So
She's
it's my partner. So
amazing.
like she's great. So it's like I wouldn't even if I hated her for whatever reason. In my mind, it wouldn't be fair to give her anything less than half because at this point, she is half of everything I'm building. Like she is my go-to.
Yeah.
So, like she's in my mind, she's earned it. But like, if you are in a relationship, I don't know. Each dynamic's different. Like you could have a relationship where you're busting your ass to do something, and your partner just holds contempt for you and doesn't help, and is like, if that's the case, then.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you earned half of this person's money by if you made their life harder when they were trying to achieve being better. Like that's the thing is my wife's earned everything. Like if anything were to happen where for whatever reason divorce and we had money, like she's earned anything she would get.
Yes.
But there's relationships where that doesn't happen. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd say it's relationship by relationship.
Yeah, I mean there are mechanisms within the law to sort of because it's you're right. It's different from relationship. So how do you sort of standardize it, right? And so that's why like length of marriage is taken into account, difference in sort of income and earning potential when you divorce. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Lifestyle, I think, factors in only when you become uber rich, isn't it? Like if you got actual money.
Which in our case was probably why he wasn't as eager to elevate our lifestyle post residency, because I suspect he kind of knew that he wanted to divorce me and just did not tell me.
That's just cowardice.
What a dick.
But the reality is, without airing the details of my marriage, because to be honest, it's nobody's business, and I don't have any desire to sort of tarnish his name or cause him any more ill will or anything like that. I mean, I will say this: I have every reason to be very upset with my ex-husband, and he has reasons to be upset with me. I'm sure. I won't comment on our marriage because marriage is a two-way street. The divorce itself was very contentious, and I worked really hard to be really nice, for both legal reasons, but also just because it doesn't sit well with me to not treat people whom I care about with the utmost respect, no matter how they have treated me. But the reason, to your original question, Matt, why I don't harbor any ill will towards him is the reality is he doesn't think about me. He doesn't waste any of his energy thinking about how he treated me. Why should I bother to waste any of my energy hating him? It only poisons me, right? It only hurts me to hold on to that. And it also sort of tarnishes the memories that I do have with him, which were very good. I mean, we were together for 17 years. He's a foundational part of who I am. And I don't believe he's a bad person. I don't want to ever be with him ever again. But we weren't a match at the end. But I don't think he's inherently a bad person. He has some personal things he needs to fucking work through to be a healthy human being. And I hope for his sake that he does that so that he can be happy. But I don't want to feel gross or icky about huge swaths of my life. And the reality is he is a huge portion of my story. And if I had to sort of whitewash my story of him, there wouldn't be a whole lot left in a lot of ways. We got together when I was 19. So I don't have the energy to hate him. I figure if he'll get what sort of he'll make the bed and
he's gonna
he'll
get what's fucking coming to him.
No, I mean, good receives good and less good receives less good.
I wish that were true. I do not think that's the case.
I mean, and here's the other thing is that I am happier now and in a better place now than I have been in years.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I fucking love my life, right? Like I have fantastic friends. I have a great family. I have an awesome job that I love. I have my health, which is getting even better, like because I'm working on that. I mean, like, why would I but and he's a huge part
Yeah.
of what made me that. Like whether
get it.
that's through being together or frankly the lessons
Have you
I
creeped
learned
on his
from
social
picking myself
media?
back up.
Have you looked to see if
He
he's
doesn't really
banging new babes?
he doesn't really do social media. And to be honest, no, because I don't care. They're welcome to him. Like he's a great lay, so have fun. I don't
Big dick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
God
a,
damn
he's
it.
a
Doctor
he's a
with a
good
big
guy.
dick. Motherfucker, man.
And abs. Yeah. He's
Big dick and
I mean,
abs?
look,
Doctor with big... Oh, God damn it, dude.
and he's charming and he's cute and look,
Fuck.
like I said, we weren't a match. He's gonna be a good partner for somebody. It's just not me, right? Do I think he let a really good thing go? I do. Whether he agrees, I don't know. To be honest, I don't care.
Matt,
I have other people in my life who are quite
Yes,
glad that
Michael.
he let me go.
would you
So,
would
you
you
know.
be bitter and resentful?
If I were her, I mean, I'm more jealous of the big dick and abs, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
me too.
No, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I feel like I've not obviously never been in the situation of 17-year marriage ending in divorce, but like, I probably would be bitter. I probably wouldn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about them.
Yeah.
But if the thought of them crossed my mind, it wouldn't be a positive thought. Like I wouldn't have any problem in shitting on them either. But that's
Yeah.
more, I think, me and less,
Yeah, the way you cope.
you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference here. I mean, obviously, like Mike, you know this, like I'm religious. And so for me,
Forgot about that.
I have certain reasons I don't really speak ill of anybody. I mean, I feel sort of called
It's
towards that within my faith. But
Circa's
also, on
religion
top
is
of
is the least cool thing about her.
that, yeah,
try
I
to-
remember you being like
Scientology?
No, I'm Christian, but
She's a Mormon.
Oh.
She's Amish.
Yes. You know, if anyone was just like thinking about all the things you've painted of me over the last like 3 days, it would be such a conflicting picture. Like, you know, like into whips and like whatever.
Yeah.
But Mormon.
She's a sex pervert and she's also a prude at the same time. So you sort that out.
But but I also am someone who believes very much in sort of a bigger plan. And like,
Circa's
was this
turning
part
the
of
other
my
cheek, Matt.
plan? Was I into?
Yeah, maybe that's
was
why
this
I'm
the
not
plan
very
I thought?
religious.
Yeah.
Right?
Turn the
Like,
cheek.
Yeah, I'm
no,
not
it
turning
wasn't
any
what I
cheek.
thought.
I'm gonna turn your cheek when I punch it.
But yeah, I guess I need to find the part in the Bible that speaks about revenge. 'cause
Well,
that's where I
there's
start
that
to pay
isn't there's
attention.
that one
There's
Bible
plenty of
quote about
revenge in the
yeah,
Bible.
dude. There's that one Bible quote about Jesus specifically telling somebody to pick up a sword at one point.
I'm gonna make that movie where it's just like,
Yeah.
pick up a sword, you bitch.
Yeah,
Jesus, just an
I mean,
angry
there's definitely
soldier.
revenge and things like that within the Bible, and
eye
the
for
Bible
an
does
eye.
not call you to, like,
Yeah, you know
be a
what it
doormat,
is like
right?
I wasn't raised with a religion. My dad was he was weird. He was one of those weird faithful dudes who like believed in God and read the Bible but hated organized religion. So he was a bit of a kook with that.
I
So
mean,
he
that's
was big
fair.
on like symbology and shit like that. So I never grew up religious of any kind. I'm still not really. And
I mean-
I don't know, the whole thing is like, I don't know. I was
I
also
mean-
probably raised a little bit rougher, and my demeanor. It's also person to person. Like you're probably just in all honesty, just overall nicer person than I am in general.
Maybe. I mean, I'm actually kind of a bitch at my core. I work really hard not to be, but I do think like I frankly have had I don't want to say I've had an easy life, but in many ways I've had a very easy life. I'm very privileged. I recognize that fully, and other than being female and mixed ethnicity wise, I'm about as privileged as you come, right? Upper middle class upbringing, private schools. So I didn't have, I think, some of those
Hey, where are the white women at?
life experiences that maybe shape things a little bit differently as a kid. My family's not actually religious. My parents aren't religious.
You found that
I-
later in life, or
Yeah, I
Who
didn't
dragged
become
you
Christian
to
until I was-
fucking? Who poisoned you with religion? Who was it?
who
Nobody
did this
poisoned-
to you?
Yeah, who did this to you?
One of my really good friends in high school.
Oh, God.
Invited me to church, and I did not go. I was like, I don't want to go.
Take
Um,
me to church.
But she asked me several times, and I went, and I
Mhm.
really, it was at a place.
Indoctrinated
where-
immediately.
No.
You know what?
Where it really helped me. What's funny is that she's
Oh,
actually
boy.
not religious anymore. She's no longer religious.
You know what?
But we're still friends.
Wow,
20
so-
something years later.
Man, Circa, yeah, that's wild, man. You
and
let the
then-
church brainwash you like that. It's crazy.
No. But it's actually funny. I question my religion all the time. To me, if you are going to proclaim that you believe something and it's foundational to who you are and your sort of way that you navigate through the world, it is incumbent upon you to question and update yourself and think, does that really still fit into my world scope? Now, for me, it always comes back to yes, thus far, but that's not to say that it always will.
So, Cirque,
And
are
I
you
don't
saying
have any
without
problem-
religion, you would have been more of a piece of shit towards your ex-husband?
I have no idea because I don't have any idea. There are some things I have a feeling would be different about my personality or my history if I had not been religious. That is not one, to be honest, I don't know that I ever would have had him as my ex-husband because I don't know if we ever would have gotten married. He only wanted to marry someone who's Christian.
Oh,
So,
God damn it.
Yeah,
Did you explore Christianity before, after, or during your relationship? Like, was it because of him or your own?
No. I was Christian. I became Christian when I was 16. And he and I met when I was 19.
How do I keep any children I have away from religion?
But weirdly enough, my older brother also became a lot more religious after I did.
Everybody poops.
Yeah, no, look,
And he's in
you
entirely different section of Christianity than I. Like,
you poisoned the whole family.
No, but it's interesting because I think, I mean, I remember, Mike, the first time you found out I was religious, and you were like, "What?" Because you were like, "But you're cool. Like, what the fuck?" Like,
I never said that.
Don't.
How dare you?
Yes, you did. I remember. I have receipts.
I've never called you cool.
Rude, Michael. You're such a fucking prick. Why am I friends with you?
Hey, can I just point out Mike's what I can only assume is a stroke that happened in his chat trying to get that command?
Yeah, dude, I was trying to. I forgot my own fucking sound effect commands. That's how good I am at fucking being a Twitch streamer. God damn it.
But no, I
just heard your keyboard, and like every time you type in a new thing, and it's like, God damn it, and then God damn it.
Michael's broken. But no, it's I don't think for me. I mean, obviously, it's important to me. I will certainly talk to people if they ask me about it. I'm not a big fan of the sort of leading with that and sort of judging other people or turn or burn or like any of that shit. I find that really annoying. And to be honest,
turn or burn, that's a thing.
Yeah, the whole like I'm gonna be friends with you so I can convert you, you heathen. Like, I just don't like that because, and honestly, I don't think it's very much in alignment with actually the teachings of Christianity.
So what is your conversion ratio amongst your friends then?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have any idea. I don't keep track of that. I have a lot of people who have become Christian and have later told me like part of the reason I initially started exploring it was because you and I were friends and I liked sort of how it fit into your life and what it sort of how you handle that. But it wasn't like I ever sat them down and had a conversation with them. It was more like they just observed kind of the way that I lived my life, and they.
Are you part of one of those cool churches?
I actually don't go to church regularly.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Heathen.
And part of that is because my ex was not really. He was more culturally Christian than he was like practicing.
Oh, God damn it, dude. That's not even like.
And
if you're gonna be fucking, go to fucking church if you call yourself Christian. I mean,
for me, it's a personal relationship with God, and so I do every Sunday. I do like read scripture and I do quiet time, and I, and I sometimes, but with COVID especially, like I didn't start getting back into church until I separated, and then it was COVID, so I wasn't going to go to church. So I would go to like online, like I would watch like online services and stuff. I'm just now starting to look into finding a church here, but to be honest, I think it's great. I think it's great to go and sort of have that sounding board in that community, but there's also a lot of toxicity and red tape and politics and crap that comes with church that I'm not a fan of.
You found church like Chris Pratt. Just like Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
It's me. It's right. Me and the Star-Lord, man. Just the same.
Hey,
exactly the same.
What do you think is something to do with your upbringing that both you and your brother were I don't want to say brainwashed, but found Christianity to be something fulfilling, perhaps something that was lacking?
Oh, I mean, my dad was raised Christian, but again, kind of became more culturally Christian. I think part of the reason we didn't go to church a lot growing up was because we moved all the time, right? We moved every 3 to 5 years.
Do you think because of that, like the constant movement, the changing of schools, friends, it left a hole that church filled for you and your sibling?
I don't know that it left a hole. I think, at least I can only speak to my experience, but for me, I I'm a this won't surprise anybody. I'm a highly emotionally driven person by nature. I'm very empathetic. Um, I had a lot of emotions as a teenager and a preteen that I didn't really know what to do with. And I also was somebody who developed sort of verbally and mentally quite quickly. So I had kind of like adult firepower with lack of filter, right? Like I was kind of a bitch when I was like 15, 16. Like I'm sort of shocked my parents didn't like stick me out on the street in a cardboard box and say free to a good home, because I was not a bad kid in terms of like sneaking out or, doing things I shouldn't, but I was mean. Like I was bitchy,
I
and
think,
I would absolutely just,
Circa, I
like,
think that's every
eviscerate
teenager
verbally.
I've ever met.
No, but here's the thing, that's true, but I think the average teenager, it's like, being snapped with a rubber band, and from my mouth, it was like being shot with an AK-47. Like I was brutal.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I want to agree with both of you guys, but like I got kicked out twice, so like it really depends on, I guess, how you're being raised.
Damn,
I
Nikki,
didn't
what'd you
give a
get kicked
shit,
out for?
so not giving a shit and talking back and rolling my eyes,
Ooh.
which I do still. So that shit happens, and yeah. So I didn't get the cardboard box, Circa, but I sure as hell had to find one at
Oh yeah,
that
I mean,
time.
here's the truth. I wouldn't blame my parents. Like I kind of deserved it. I had my parents are fucking fantastic. They're some of the best people on the planet, and I think they recognized that I just had, I just hadn't figured out how to make, how to sort those emotions, right? And so they helped me through it. I think for me, church gave me structure. I didn't know it
So
at the
you were-
time, but I
so
have
you-
ADHD. I didn't know that.
You were
I
so
just
you
found
were
out.
lacking. Do you think you were lacking familial structure?
No, I just think I was given a lot of, I mean, maybe to some degree, because I was given a lot of freedom. Like my parents never told me who I needed to be, but I think I've always been somebody who has like a broad range of interests, and I have like I'm kind of at opposite ends, right? Like I'm massively creative, and I love like making a mess in the studio, but then I like clean it up into color-coded boxes. Like I have these two sort of warring parts of my personality. It's why finding a career that was fulfilling was really hard for me. And I think I felt like I never really fit in any one place. Also because I'm mixed, so I never felt like I totally fit in with the white kids or with the Asian kids. And so I think for me, church was a place where I had commonality with everyone there. And I think that was very comforting for me at a time when I needed that. And it gave me kind of a higher power outside of my parents to kind of like bring my angst to and filter through. And so for me, it was just it is very fulfilling and felt and feels still to this day very real to me. But I recognize that just because I believe in God, and that's how I filter that sort of higher power, people label it different things. That energy, right, in the universe doesn't mean that that's the right way to do it. Some other religion could be right, some non-religion, could be right. Like this is what works for me.
It sounds to me like you were lacking in some aspect of your adolescence. So there was something
I think
missing.
everybody did,
I mean,
to some degree.
some
like,
more than others, right? Because I think situation different. I think if you were fulfilled in the ways that the church fulfills you without that, when you were a teenager, I don't think the church holds that sway over you. Obviously, who knows,
I
right?
think I will say this, not to be like I'm special. I think I was a more complicated teenager than I think a lot of people, a lot of teenagers, they're fine with kind of the status quo. They don't question everything. They don't analyze everything from 18 angles. I do. It's how I'm wired. Ask anyone who's been in my life for any extended period of time. Ask Nikki some of the conversations I've had with her. I analyze everything. And
Overanalyze, perhaps.
Yes, and because I have anxiety, depression, and ADHD. Those
That'll
three
do it.
things.
Yep.
Yeah. And I had an intense desire to belong somewhere, right? And I think a lot of people do, but it took me a lot longer in my life to be okay with just being me, right?
No, sure. Listen, that turmoil of feeling like you don't have a place where you belong will cause you to seek out your own community.
Right.
That's just how it goes. MB says, I grew up in a staunchly Christian household. I attended private Christian school until I was 12. Are you still Christian now? You know, I did not grow up that way whatsoever.
Well, look, and people find community in different places. I mean, the reality is, I think, you know, maybe I did lack that sense of belonging. I was never gonna find that in an after school, like drop out of school, do drugs, get in trouble kid like area, because I'm a fucking goody two shoes and I'm a lawful good. So that would not have been an acceptable place for me to find that. That's not to judge anyone who finds that. But and my older brother was similar. I think for me, obviously, it's foundational to who I am, and even though I've gotten older and I've gotten comfortable at this point with just being me and whatever, it's not like I need religion as a place of belonging anymore. But it is interesting that, like, I don't go to church as much anymore, right? Like, that community aspect of it is less important to me
That is
than
interesting.
the private relationship that I have with God. But it is a huge part of my life. It is a part of my life I'm open about. It's not a part of my life I force on people.
If you were to
I
have
don't-
children, would you raise them Christian?
I think I would raise them with Christian values in terms of, you know, right and wrong and treating people well and all those things. But for example, my mother's not religious and she raised us with those values. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I don't think those values are intrinsic to Christianity.
no, I think they are part of Christianity. I think they are not exclusive.
They
to
can be,
Christianity.
because I
Right.
know
Yes,
plenty
they're
of
not always.
Christians who are not kind.
Well, when I say Christianity, I'm talking about like the actual like base teachings from not the stuff necessarily that you learn in church, because church, depending on where you go, like it's human created, and there's always politics issues. Like it, you know, it's a group of humans. We make fucking mistakes all the time. So it's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of church a lot of times. But I don't think they're exclusive to Christianity by any means at all, right? It's one of the reasons I don't have the requirement that my partner be Christian. But would I prefer to at least have my kids attend church with me when they are little? Yes, because I think it is a great place for them to learn to make friends, be social. Like, I think it's good for life skills. I think there's a lot of things that are promoted in church, like volunteerism and whatever. When my kids get to an age where they can make that choice for themselves, would I ever require them to attend church or force my religion on them? Absolutely fucking not. Because that is not my job as their parent. Like, my job as a parent for my hypothetical, I do not have children, my hypothetical children, is to raise them to be responsible, good, well-balanced human beings who have their own life and get to make their own choices. Now, if they gave me crap about my religion or they shit all over my religion, and they would have a come to Jesus moment, not that they need to be religious, but that they need to respect others and their opinions.
I feel like
Yes.
teenager. I guess it depends on what kind of teenager you get. If you get a teenager like you,
Yeah.
they might feel inclined to fucking shit on your religion.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I will let them shit on it, and then I will tell them why that is not acceptable in this house. Not because they're shitting on my religion, but they don't get to shit on anybody's life systems. That's not the way that
Nikki, when
and
your
look,
parents told you not to do something when you were a teenager, you clearly uh-oh.
Nikki's like, I'm out.
Nikki's like, nope.
Her Discord's been acting up. But no,
Yeah.
I mean, I would not want to. I am someone very much in general in my life who's like, look, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I expect. And as long as you respect that, we're good. You don't have to follow the same thing as I do. In fact, I don't want all my friends to be Christian. I want people in my life who are outside of that, because I think it broadens
Satanists.
Sure, I'd be friends with a Satanist.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like
Can they,
Matt's
if
a
they can have,
Satanist.
if they can have a
I'm not.
Matt's drawing a
adult-
pentagram right now.
I find Satanism just dumb because
Is it-
it's like, hey man, fuck organized religion. You know how we fuck organized religion?
We have an organized
By
religion.
having an organized religion. It's fucking stupid.
But no, as long as somebody can have a measured adult discussion, like, for heaven's sakes, I'm not so dumb as to think there aren't things a Satanist could teach me, right? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right. Like, but you'll never
sacrifice
know
time.
that if you live in a vacuum and you never step outside of that, you will never you will never grow as a
Yeah.
person. And frankly, if you proclaim to believe something and you're so scared to talk to somebody who doesn't believe that because you're afraid you won't be able to defend your position, then do you really fucking believe it in the first place? I'm not sure you do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If it's foundational to who you are, you should know what it's about.
I grew
and
up
if
in
you
a
can't step
staunch,
up and make that decision, then you're not really a fill in the blank, whatever you're proclaiming that you are.
staunchly Christian household, attended a Christian school till I was 12. I'm no longer a practicing Christian, but I think I still hold a lot of the values I was taught. Like Circus said, I'm a goody two shoes, is that the saying. I've never done drugs. I don't drink. I try to put others before me. But these traits aren't exclusive to Christianity, I don't think. You could be a good person, not be a Christian. I don't think being a good person, I don't think being a good quote unquote person, first off, I mean, I find that to be completely subjective in general. But aside from that, or adding to that rather, I don't think not drinking or doing drugs, because to imply that not drinking and doing drugs are traits of quote unquote a good person, that would thereby imply, if not outright state, to be a person who drinks and does drugs recreationally is bad, would make them bad people.
There's plenty of sober pieces of shit.
Exactly. I attended church until I was probably 16 or so. It was all I knew growing up, so it's where I found community. I will say, though, that attending Christian school did limit the things that most kids in public school were afforded. Like we didn't have sports or any other extracurricular activities. I didn't mean those were the only things that a good person does. Would thou like to live deliciously? No drugs, no drinking? Tell that to all the child abusing priests. Right. And then there's the people who take the Lord's name in vain, like those priests.
I mean, for me, like, I do drink. I never did drugs. I've never done drugs. I never tried them. Don't have any interest. But part of that...
I mean, you do certain kinds of drugs. You do culturally acceptable drugs, do you not? Pharmaceutical drugs, nicotine... not nicotine,
I mean...
caffeine.
Yeah, illegal drugs, right? And I don't really smoke weed or anything.
But then again, even weed, it's illegal culturally in places. But now, that's changing. So saying...
Sorry,
alcohol.
Say that again. You broke out for me. I didn't hear you.
I was saying that good drugs, bad drugs, quote unquote, even that is nonsensical. It's completely cultural, completely biased. Weed, 50 years ago, in the middle of the reefer madness craze, labeled, the devil's cabbage or whatever the fuck.
Devil's lettuce.
Who gives
Jazz
a rat's
cabbage.
ass, right? But my point being, now...
Mike's like, I don't do salads.
Now, people are smoking weed the same way they have a drink after work. It just culturally the line shifts. So we've marked this. There's this line of delineation between what drugs are quote unquote acceptable and what aren't, just based on hell. Sometimes it's based on what the pharmaceutical lobbyists and whoever, it was William Randolph Hearst that launched the campaign against marijuana for his own specific reasons in the 20s, I think, is when he started launching a hate campaign and started naming it. I believe that's where marijuana first took note, because before then it was labeled something else and it wasn't nearly as stigmatized until they made it stigmatized, which then made it a bad or illicit drug. Whereas now, people are picking it up casually the same way they would a bottle of booze, or hell, if you're just doing the vast amount of drugs. Caffeine is a drug that we all partake in, that nobody has any issues with. It's just, I don't know, man. It just seems, or pharmaceutical drugs, right? Why is, all right,
Right.
Methamphetamine illegal. However, its chemical cousin, I forget the name of the specific amphetamine, but it's found in Adderall. It's found in ADHD medication.
Yep.
That's
I took
okay.
some this morning.
That's okay. And I took some too, but when I took my Adderall, I crushed it up and snorted it
Nice.
off
It's
of a
the best
table.
way. It's quickest way.
Oh, that's a violation.
And it was fucking awesome. And also, I was very drunk at the time and high, and it was a good time.
Oh,
But
you
aside
were
aside from that, but again,
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think it's interesting. So, like, for me, the reason I didn't do drugs growing up was not necessarily because I was like, oh, these are bad inherently, but because they were illegal, and I am very much a lawful good. So it's like, okay, well, that's off limits. Like by design. That's
but
off
now
limits,
weed
right?
is, when some, and also, what about decriminalization?
Right, so I've smoked. Right,
some
I've
areas.
smoked weed now that
Yeah.
it's legal. Although I've only done it like twice because, to be honest, it didn't really do much for me. Just sort of felt like being tipsy, and you know.
Matt's high right
But
now.
I do think there are certain drugs, and meth is a
What are you
good
trying to say,
example of
fool?
this, or opioids are a good example of this, where there's a higher chance that it will sort of ruin someone's life and also have a societal impact. And for those reasons, those drugs are understandably controlled. And abusing them is illegal, right?
Right, but you know, if you
weed,
had
not
surgery, you would
much.
take a painkiller, wouldn't you? Or would you abstain because of your religion?
I would not abstain, but I did, like, for example, when I had really, really bad sciatica at one point, where like to the point where like I would wake up, pop 2 ibuprofen, and wait 20 minutes before I could roll out of bed because it was so bad. Like they were gonna have to give me surgery, and I got through it with physical therapy and things like that. But they offered to prescribe me some pretty heavy painkillers, and I turned it down. Not because there's anything wrong with painkillers, but because I have a history of addiction in my family, and I'm very careful, right? And I recognize the power of those drugs.
Who is the addict? That
both of my grandparents on my mom's side.
Ooh, what was there? Was it alcohol?
Alcoholism,
couple of booze
and,
bags.
They both struggled with alcohol, and my grandmother also struggled with painkillers. So
Sure.
I'm very, very careful.
Listen,
it's one of the reasons I don't drink heavily.
I mean, you basically have all the fucking you have all the markers for somebody with how would I say this? I don't know. Just fucking like me. Just you've got you're obsessive, you're depressive, you're riddled with anxiety. You are looking for you know, you're a teenager looking for a place to belong. I mean,
it could go very off. It could have gone very off the rails for me. I am incredibly lucky, and like I said, I have a very good support system. And I also work really hard. I avoid things. I don't even drink caffeine, right? Like I avoid anything that could be addictive. I do therapy regularly. I pray. I meditate. Like all of these things and structures are in my life for a very good reason.
Yeah, to keep you off the pole.
Exactly. Got to keep me on the side.
To Nikki's,
can keep me off the pole.
Yeah, Maddie, do the fucking splits upside down right now. Yeah, much to Nikki's chagrin.
Turn my camera on.
But the thing is too is in having these restraints and in spending a lot of time sort of thinking about myself and investing in myself enough that I know my limits. It also means I can afford to let loose in certain areas, and I know that I'm going to be good because I'm very aware of my limits and what areas I can kind of indulge in and be a little more spicy.
I
and what
learn my
areas
limits.
I need to be more sort of straight-laced, right? It's a balance thing. But I'm an extraordinarily structured and controlled individual, and that is by choice.
I am an unstructured individual, but I think that's where I like to be. I like to be unstructured, although it is
I don't like chaos. It makes me uncomfortable.
Chaos feels like a warm, friendly blanket.
I mean, I'm that bitch who has filled out an extensive to-do list every day without fail for the last 10 years.
Wow, no.
Like I have 10 years worth of to-do lists.
Yeah, see, if I do that,
they're in binders, organized chronologically.
I mean that. Oof.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, if I were to do that, I would probably quit after making the to-do list. Like, I've got like this limited well of what's the word? Like organizational implementation of my energy. So I have to find very deliberate, specific ways to channel that. And yeah.
The thing is, mine is templatized at this point, right? So it's just on my iPad, and I just fill it out every day. And then at the end of the year, I have them all printed. But for me, it's a touch point. It allows me to go back and see like where I came from, and also if I'm like, hey, I'm like from having a day where I'm like, crap, like I didn't get anything done, and I'm terrible. Whatever. I look back and I'm like, look, bitch, look at all the shit you accomplished in the last 2 weeks. Like, stop bitching, you know? Like, so it's a tool for me, and it's become so much a part of my life that it takes me 5 minutes. I do it the night before. It takes me 5 minutes to fill out, and then I have a battle plan for the next day. So for me, it's not a burden at this point. For me, it was. I mean, getting used to it, making it a habit was hard, but you know, the reality is I look at it and I can see the difference in my lifestyle and my stress level and what I'm able to accomplish,
Oh,
you know,
Nikki doesn't want to hear
having
any about
having
this.
done those things. And so, you have to find what works for you. If you're not someone for whom systems and like formal systems works, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah,
You know
Matt.
what I mean? For me, formalized systems
Sorry,
work
Michael.
really, really well. They sort of scratch that itch of the color coding organizational side of my brain, and they help me kind of rein in the creative part. So it brings balance to my life, and I've shared that template with a bunch of my friends. A bunch of them use it now too. But that's just because how I'm wired.
I'm not
maybe
built
it wouldn't work
for that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely not built for that at all. I've tried to get the daily planners, get the yearly planners. You ever see those planners that I've got one where it's like you break down your entire day by the hour, if need be.
Time blocking. Yep.
I will waste an entire day setting that up, and then over the course of a week or so, just completely bail on it. MB says, the values, treat others the way you want to be treated, etc. Now I just live my life and try to be kind and not take away from others. And yeah, I live within the constructs of what is right versus wrong, like Circa's saying. But like, I'm not married and I live with my girlfriend, so I'd find that hypocritical if I were a true Christian, right?
Oh, I lived with my ex-husband before we were married.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? So to some,
but we bought a 2-bedroom place so that, because otherwise his mom would ask questions. So like, should we just let her assume we had separate bedrooms? But we didn't.
Yeah, but like to that, right? Living with someone before you're married, to some Christians would in fact mean you're not very Christian at all.
And that's fine, because to be honest, I'm not looking for their approval as to whether I'm a good Christian or not.
Right. I'm just saying it's all subjective. Right?
Oh, it's totally subjective. It's your personal belief system, right? So you have to do what works for your life, right? And it's, the same as like we were just talking about with the to-do lists. If that doesn't work for you, don't do it. I tried doing the freeform thing, and I just realized that I didn't get anything done. For me, I need that structure. And the way mine is set up, I have like my to-do list and my schedules, and then the center of I call it my daily docket because I developed it in law school and I'm that nerdy. But like the center has essentially a dummy day. So it'll say like early morning, feed the dog, take your medication, like start a load of laundry, whatever, like, midday. And it breaks down by time of day so that inevitably when I get to a place in my day where I'm like, I have half an hour and I have no idea what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing, I can look at that time of day slot and be like, did I do everything that's in here? It short circuits the ADHD, like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
Scatterbrainness for me. It gives me a touch point. It doesn't mean that every day I get all of those things done, but it keeps me on track. Right? It doesn't allow me to stop my momentum, basically.
I took one of those ADHD tests, and
I'll be right back, guys.
I got a bunch of markers for it, but
it wouldn't surprise me.
It didn't. I didn't have as many as I thought I would. Like, it was one of those it was a sliding scale, whereas if you got this many points, not at all. If you got this many points, it was possible. This many points, it was very likely. And then after that, it was almost definitely. And the amount of points that I got in the bracket I was in the highly possible, almost in the likely, but not quite, like the upper levels of you might have it. It's because I do have a handful of things. I do have a handful of traits that are ADHD-esque. How was your thing diagnosed? How did you know? I'm abnormal.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a weirdo. I've kind of always suspected that there might be something going on, but it was like I've always suspected that my brain worked a little bit differently, perhaps than some other people's brains. But I always chalked it up to the depression and the anxiety, because there's a lot of overlap, right, in sort of the symptoms, and it was always manageable. Like, I never was someone who felt like I had crippling ADHD. Like I was able to still be a high performer. I did very, very well in school. I did very well in law school. I did well in my master's program. Like it wasn't an issue, right, in terms of my everyday functionality. But when I got to a point where I was in school full time for my master's, and I was also working full time, and I was moving to California, and I was finalizing my divorce. So like there was a lot of things going on, and it got to a point where I just wasn't functioning well. Like I was really struggling with remembering stuff, and I wasn't sleeping well, and things were falling through the cracks that needed to not fall through the cracks, and I couldn't manage it with just my to-do list, right? And because like part of the reason I am so structured is because it was a coping mechanism for the fact that my brain
Yeah,
is
wait.
neurodivergent.
To
Right?
keep on track though,
Yeah. So
did you go to the doctor?
right. So I talked to I was talking to my younger brother actually about this situation, right? And he's like, "Well, has it occurred to you that you might have ADHD?" And I was like, "Isn't that the thing where you're like hyperactive all the time? Like I'm a lazy fuck. Like no." And he's like, "No, you might have inattentive ADHD." He's like, "I was diagnosed earlier this year." And my younger brother and I are very similar. Very, very, very similar. And I was like, and he was listing off things, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like me. That one too." And he's like, "Just talk to your doctor about it." So when I had my annual physical, I talked to my doctor, and I was like, "Hey, is this a thing? Like, should we look into this?" And he's like, "It might well be a thing for you. You would need to go get evaluated by like an ADHD specialist."
Sure.
And so I looked into it, and I actually, and I promptly sort of put it on my to-do list and then forgot about it because that's how ADHD works.
Excellent.
And one night I was up late scrolling through TikTok of all things.
Love it. Love
and
TikTok.
There was a TikTok about
Is
a
ADHD
group called
TikTok?
Yeah, there's totally an ADHD TikTok. And they were talking about this group called Circle Medical, which is a telemedicine group out of California, and they specialize in ADHD diagnosis and treatment.
No
And it's all on
shit.
your phone. It's an app, right? So you set it up and you have a FaceTime call. And my insurance takes them and covers it. And because they're like a real practice, they have like brick and mortar practices and stuff. And I think they're out of San Diego. And so I booked an appointment and evaluation, and I had, I think, 3 evaluations total. They're about 45 minutes a piece. And at the end of it, she's like, "Oh yeah, you're ADHD as fuck."
No shit.
How do you want to handle this?
Yeah. What are the options to handle it once you're diagnosed?
So there's medication, right? There's
Obviously,
Adderall.
yes.
There's a couple of other medications as well. And then there are sort of behavioral changes, life skills they can teach you. Things like a simple example would be like, okay, you need to have a dedicated landing spot for like your keys and your phones, because one of the things with ADHD is like you'll put something down, and if you walk away from it, you'll forget it exists. Like
So
I'm that person who, if I walk into the bathroom and the toilet roll needs to be changed and I don't do it right then, I will walk out of the bathroom and completely forget that it needs to happen.
Is cognitive behavioral therapy an outlet for
Sure.
to help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cognitive behavioral therapy paired with sort of life skills training, things like to-do lists, things like having a regular sleeping schedule. Just there are certain things that help with people who are neurodivergent. In my case, I was already doing most of those things because that's how I'd coped with it for years, right?
Right.
And so they were like, "We really think you should try Adderall," and I was very resistant because I don't like taking medication.
Drugs.
Yes, I'm very like, if I really, really need to. I talked to my younger brother again because he and I are very close. I respect him, even though he's my baby brother. He's one of my best friends, and he's on Adderall. And he was like, "Look, just try like a small dose. If you hate it, you don't have to take it." And so they put me on Adderall, and I did the research and made sure it didn't interact with any of the other stuff I take, and it did. It really helped. I don't take it every day. I only take it when I have like a heavy meetings day where I really need to be on my game. And now that a lot of things have calmed down, right? I'm no longer in school. I'm moved. I take it less and less. I don't need, like I took it this morning. I probably won't take my afternoon dose because I won't need it. My meetings are largely done for the day.
Interesting.
So it's very much an as-needed thing for me.
Sure. It sounds like the way you're describing it sounds to me the way people with anxiety are prescribed Xanax. And it's kind of as needed. Not all. Some people do need it daily, but...
Yeah. I mean, the best way to describe it for me is it's almost like putting on noise-canceling headphones for my brain. Like, normally my brain is just like pinging with thoughts all the time, right? I'll be in the grocery store and I'll hear a song playing, and then I'll start thinking about where I was when I heard that song, and like who I was with and what we were eating, and like my brain just goes down rabbit holes all the time. And when I am on Adderall, it's almost like those thoughts are there, but they're so muffled that I'm just able to focus.
You're able to focus
on
on
one
get the
thing.
task done.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Because my brain is like that. My brain is chaos. Hence this stream.
Oh, my brain is insane. So
you like me are prone to tangents. I've noticed, even in our conversations.
Yep. I always have some of the most interesting conversations.
I know. Well, they're all over the place. But no, but it's, I mean, if that's a symptom, then add that to my checklist. MB says, I'm fine with anyone believing what they want, following whichever God they want, as long as it doesn't cause harm to people. At the same time, don't push your beliefs on others or put others down because they don't follow. Yes. Agreed. Dang, that sounds like me. Maybe I need to get checked out. My mind is very segmented to branches of thoughts and references. Yeah, no, I don't know. I probably, Adderall probably would help. Would probably help a little bit. I don't know. Who the hell knows? What would help most is some kind of consultation, some kind of speaking to a licensed mental health professional.
Well, and like I said, I mean, there are apps and stuff to do that through. I mean, like I do my therapy through an app. Like we have options now that we didn't have 10 years ago. I think for me, my hallmark things with ADHD are the scattered thoughts, the inability to focus, and also just one of the like hallmark symptoms is that feeling of that you're just bad at being an adult, right? Like you kind of look around and you're like, how are all these people managing to keep their shit together? Because I'm struggling. I felt like when I'm not on Adderall, it takes me like an hour. My workday starts at 9. I tend to start my workday at around 7:30 because I need about an hour to like just warm my brain up, get my shit together well enough to be able to tackle my day running at 9.
Right.
I'm not the person who can roll out of bed and just like be at work. And I think that's pretty common for people. Also, procrastinating is a really big hallmark symptom for a lot of people.
Dude, I'm the fucking king of procrastination.
Well, because the thing is, like, you'll see someone's and you'll think, that lazy fuck, he's just sitting on the couch scrolling through fucking Instagram. But what's happening is you're actually sitting there almost like paralyzed because the thoughts are like just overwhelming and there's just like so much going on, and you can't you procrastinate because it takes you a long time to like harness your thoughts and focus well enough to do the task, and that's going to be overwhelming, so you wait till the last minute because you're like, it's going to be fucking exhausting, right? It's not because you don't want to do the work on time, right? It's not because you're lazy. It's a reaction. It's a coping mechanism. That's a big one. People who talk a lot or who talk over people, like if you're that person who tends to talk over people if you're not careful,
sure,
it's a hallmark symptom.
Yeah.
Tangents are a hallmark. This is why I say it would not surprise. I'm not going to say that you have it. I'm not a mental health professional, but it would not surprise
I've got markers. I've got a
at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Does it help with art? Matt's back. Does it help with art? Because that might push me to get it. Oh man, and I'm back.
I mean, it helps. It helps with your focus. So I think for me, it helps with my ability to actually sit down and work on that piece that I want to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. What smoke? Yeah, smoking a fat bowl of crack.
Get a fat crack rock, and then the artistic juices will flow.
Yeah,
that is one way to do that too.
That's one of the Circa's favorite bonuses of living next to bums, is that a steady supply of crack. Yeah, unhoused bums.
Yeah. I just walk out. I stick a little backpack on Isabel. They just like stick the crack in the backpack. Like it's very cute. She carries it for me. The whole thing.
Dude, the homeless in California is like fucking Walking Dead.
The Walking
Let
Dead.
Me pet you, dog. No, get out of
Dude.
here, you unhoused.
Dude, I kind of wish Circa was more badass. Like she just took a blowtorch to those tent cities.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my
burn 'em
God.
Yeah, she's
all.
rocking a T-shirt that says "Recycle your homeless," and then she puts down her
Yeah.
glasses so her eyes don't get burned from all the bright torch them like marshmallows.
Yeah,
Oh my
she's chainsawing the ones that managed to survive.
I'm badass in other ways.
He's
but
like, this
that
one
torture-
shit himself, this one come himself. I'm gonna torture him and make him a human s'mores. Let's do it.
Damn it! Like it's Circa. Not only that's not even badass. That's just crazy.
Yeah,
Like you turned her into a psychopath that burns homeless people for fun and turns them into s'mores, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I am in LA, MB.
Where in
That's where
California?
my
Where,
job
where in California do you live, Bean? His last name is actually Bean.
California, where burning hobos is an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, no. Recycle your homeless is Circa's slogan.
Hey,
I mean,
man, we got to go past some 10 cities in Chicago too.
Fuck
I
that.
don't think it's as bad as like LA or San Francisco.
The West
but,
Coast
like,
homeless are way fucking worse. I don't care what anybody says.
Seattle is worse than both. Like
the
Seattle,
viaducts are
I've never
flooded.
seen it as bad as it is in
Dude,
Seattle.
I was a fucking handful of years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago. I was fucking accosted by a homeless person. I legit was like, holy shit, because I'm used to New York homeless, which are kind of like live and let live, unless they're crazy, in which case run. But like, dude, the homeless were like, it was like I was walking through the movie The Warriors, man. The homeless people were like a roving gang of fucking bandits.
They're all just the orphans.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
an
like-
orphan. What do you?
Yeah, I mean that's basically.
whatever.
I feel like I walked through somebody's turf when I wasn't supposed to.
Hey man, you need to watch out for that newest gang across the city. Who's that, man?
The
The
unhoused.
The unhoused
Oh,
are roaming
shit.
the streets, man. But they a gang.
Watch your
Good?
Are
back.
you okay, Mike?
Watch your
What
back,
the fuck was
sucker.
that sound?
That was the chair rolling.
I thought
Oh.
you were getting robbed.
Yeah, I was getting robbed by an
oh,
unhoused.
Shit. And I was like,
Oh shit! The unhoused have broken into my place of residence.
Watch your ass.
You jive turkey.
Well, that's how they were talking. It's the Warriors, the 70s New York.
Yeah, it
Watch
really
your
was.
jive ass.
oh my
You think
God,
you're
y'all.
slick, sucker?
God, what a way to talk, dude. I love that. That was a
I
fucking...
I want to make a movie with nothing but 70s movie speak though. This is jive ass white boy.
San Jose,
Sorry, man,
South
white boy.
Bay of San Francisco. Do you like living in the Jose? I will say this much about California. I am very envious of the weather systems in that whole state.
Mm.
Up north, you got that nice, like, cool. It's like 60 degrees all year round, more or less. In the fucking southern rim where Circa Chan is, it's so. I mean, minus the earthquakes and the droughts and the horrifying fires. Pretty nice weather. I would miss the seasons though, Matt. I love, dude. I'm gearing up for Halloween. The fucking leaves are turning. I'm a Halloween
there's
bitch.
nothing better than fall. Fall is the
Fall
best.
is the
You got
fucking
Halloween,
best,
you've
dude.
got the leaves, you got that weather of like,
Dude, the
oh,
weather,
it's
man.
chilly. Better put on a blanket when I watch my horror movie.
I
tonight.
know, but it's like it's not
lovely.
freezing, but like you could go out. T-shirt if you're bold. If you run warm, t-shirt and shorts. If you run really warm. If you're not, t-shirt and jeans. If you run cold, t-shirt and hoodie. Maybe denim jacket. And you're
I'm
good.
the opposite. I'll do t-shirt and shorts up until a certain, when it gets too chilly for that. I still do shorts through all of fall for the most part, but I'll
Yeah.
do like a thin hoodie to regular hoodie.
Yeah.
And then winter's
yeah.
really when pants comes in. But I will even sometimes, if there's no snow on the ground and it's just a little chilly, I don't really have any problem going out in some shorts if I'm just going to the car.
Yeah, no. If I'm
I can
dropping
start
off
my
the
car and get it heated.
dude, if I'm running to drop off the garbage outside in the back, I'll rock some shorts in the winter.
But I am a dumb
Yeah.
Midwesterner though. Like I'm in Chicago where like I've shoveled in shorts. Like
Well, you get
the
so
problem
hot,
with Chicago is it's beautiful. Like it can be amazing. And in the summer it's too hot. In the winter it goes between either we have too much snow or it's bitter cold. And then you have the times where it snows a shit ton and then immediately goes bitter cold. So it just becomes like a depressing fucking icy tundra. And then once you get that thaw or we get that new weather system that brings it back up to like 35 degrees, it really is a breath of fresh air. Because you really are you're going out, the fucking air is dry, it's cold, the wind stings your face, there's snow everywhere, so it's just blinding fucking white everywhere. The streets that don't have snow on them have salt on them, so the streets are white and ugly. it's just a weird it's a weird depressing cycle. Like basically end of January until March, Chicago's usually in a weird tundra phase.
Man, well, that's what makes you guys so tough, dude. That's what makes you guys so bold. And you're homeless. You know what, dude? That's what it is, man. Nature is the whip of the homeless. Keeps them in check. Keeps them from getting rowdy.
Coals
Well,
the
that's
masses.
why the West Coast has such a homeless problem.
Exactly, dude.
Their weather is so stable.
Their weather is so. Can't wait for global warming to start cooking those fucking homeless people outside, right, Matt?
I mean, we like.
S'mores.
Oh, man, they're not
I've
doing
lived
anything.
in California for what, 3 months now, almost. We've literally had rain once.
Oh,
That's
dude.
it. Every other
God.
fucking day has been sunny.
No wonder so many people are weak over there. Weak-willed, weak of spirit, weak of mind.
So here's the thing, right? How do you quell the homeless thing? Like, is there a certain point where the
Recycling
countries
bins.
just have to be exactly? Do we just have to go full barbarian and be like, look,
Listen,
we've already got this many.
why don't
If we
we
don't take out some of them, we're fucked.
why don't we carve out a piece of one of the shittier states like Alabama or Mississippi, and then we just give that to the homeless people, and we just ship them there and let them do whatever the fuck they want. Just
Like
keep within
pulling
your borders.
Australia.
But
Yeah,
then they'll
Australia.
secede and they'll be the entire state of the unhoused.
the state of the no, they can
and I
make their
mean-
own homes.
And honestly, like, here's the truth: is like nobody wants it on their, not in my backyard. Like that's a thing. Like that's been one of the things in LA is like, they want to build more homeless shelters, and they were looking at building some. I think it was in Santa Monica, and people were like freaking out because they're like, Santa Monica is a nice area of LA. It's a lot of affluent people live there, and they were like, yes, we want to help the homeless from a distance, but we don't want it fucking like in our backyard.
Get
It's gonna
these
drop our
freaks
property
out of
values."
here.
Right? Like and Alabama has some really nice, like Mountainburg, Alabama is one of the most affluent sections of the entire country. They call it the tiny kingdom because it is full of rich white people. I know, I graduated from high school from there. Like they would absolutely freak the fuck out and they have the lobbying and buying power and connections to make that not happen.
Those
right?
southern fucks.
Here's
You
my
know?
thing, like, how are we just as like a culture supposed to get used to people shitting in the road?
Listen,
Like,
listen, bigot.
like
You better get
I
used
mean,
to it.
maybe I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so racist. But
Yeah.
something about me just if I see a homeless person shitting on the sidewalk in front of me, maybe I am a bigot because part of me, even if it's a small part, kind of wants to beat the shit out of him for shitting on the sidewalk. Like,
We should be allowed to beat the shit out of homeless people who do nasty things in public, right? Like if you catch somebody
Like-
taking
like
a shit
if
or
you-
pissing on
like-
somebody's kid,
I
like
only say
you
that
should get some
if you
free
think-
licks in on them.
I mean, you can only say that if you would make the statement we should be able to do that to any person who does shitty things in public. It can't be because they're homeless.
Right.
All right, but I
You're
feel
right.
like
You know what I
I feel
mean?
like
If
you
you're-
get
if you're
extra.
just
You
a-
get
here's- I'll put
you
it
can
this
get an
way.
extra
If you're
punch in
just
on
a
a homeless.
drunk, if
Yeah.
you're just
No.
a drunk asshole going home from the baseball game and the
Yeah.
hot dog kicks in and you decide to shit in the middle of the sidewalk,
Yeah, that guy
I
gets
should
beat
be
up.
able to beat the shit out of you.
That's fair. That's like a citizen's arrest.
I disagree.
It's a citizen's
but-
beating. You just take photo evidence of them breaking the law,
Like
and then
here's the thing, guys. I'm not saying like seriously hurt them, but a couple good ones to tell you, hey,
Yeah.
what you're doing isn't right.
a shot to the kidney and maybe a shot to the back of the head. Just two, just
None-
just
can't
two good
be-
ones.
Back is too volatile. You also, I will have to say, the out cold knockouts should be out. Maybe it's a 2-man team.
Yeah,
You get
maybe
one
some body
good hit.
shots.
Maybe it's one good hit. You decide where, not the back of the head.
Yeah, you punch
But
them in the
one
ribs,
good
or,
hit-
knock the wind out of them.
Yeah,
Just-
something like that. But
I'm-
something
I'm
to
a-
tell them like what you're doing is wrong.
This is
Like,
wrong.
You shouldn't be shitting on the sidewalk.
Bad. Yeah, you get
I'm gonna let you boys take this one.
yeah, you
because
get
I
punished like
strongly disagree.
like an animal getting hit with a newspaper. I'm gonna rub your face in it.
I'm gonna rub my fist in your stomach now.
The problem
What
is
hap-
though,
okay,
there's
but
so many
here's-
mentally ill people that you could
They'll
beat
fight
the shit
back.
out of them. Either A, they're gonna fight back
And it won't
and
make
they're
a
gonna fight back worse, or B, you're gonna beat the shit out of them and they're so fucking batshit crazy. They're not gonna know. They're gonna come in their pants. You start beating them up. So
Well,
what
then
you,
what happens if you pop somebody and they have an underlying like health condition and they have a brain bleed and you fucking kill them,
well,
right?
that-
Like, what
listen,
do
you
do
just chalk
then?
that up to
You know what I mean?
boys will be boys.
God, why
What's
do
up,
I
hey
hate
boy?
Yeah, no, that's
I
what
mean,
the,
no, I would definitely feel bad about that. But once again, you really shouldn't have shat in the middle of the street.
Yoji,
mean,
what do you
people
suggest we
Cause
do?
and
Stuff we
effect,
shouldn't
bro.
do all the time, and like I don't know.
Pooping on the BART escalator. People shit on the escalators? That's disgusting.
People shit on
Because
the
it
fucking trains here,
grinds
dude.
in, bro. It grinds in
Not
more and
yeah,
more.
dude. It gets waffle stomped into the fucking grids.
Oh, dude,
People
it goes
have,
through every
um,
single step.
People have pooped on like the metro in DC and stuff too.
Fucking
it's a
gross.
thing.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, but like, you mean if like, all right, so you think that, but have you ever stepped in it?
No.
Okay, so do you think maybe if I witness it, okay, I don't have the right, but if I'm walking down the street and I step in it and I go, what the fuck is this? And then I look ahead and the unhoused is just shitting on the street ahead of me, like he's just leaving a trail
It's
of
RoboCop
himself.
time.
Am I not allowed? I think at that point, fuck his brain bleed, his mental illnesses, whatever his problems are. I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. Like, not even one or two. Like, I just stepped in your human feces
Dead
that you
or
were
alive,
Johnny
you're
Apple
coming
seating
with
down
me.
the fucking sidewalk. Yeah, like, at this point, like, why should I be the good guy?
Yeah. All right. Fuck. I gotta
mean,
leave. I gotta go pick up the wife. So we're gonna leave it on that note. Remember the
Murder's
hashtag.
okay if they hurt your feelings.
Make s'mores out of the homeless. Hashtag recycle your homeless. That's the Circa way. Circa.